For November 4th, 2019, if you'd join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Quite a bit of correspondence here. I will start. We have a bill from Ray Roofing for the TPO portion of Lincoln Park Manor that did not get replaced before you guys were here when we did you followed up on this, so you know, but
right.
Before, when we did the insurance claim on the roof, we did all the shingle part. This is for the TPO part. It's from Ray Roofing, $148,386.07, which I assume the total is covered. We did get a supplement on our insurance to do that.
This should be
So
covered by insurance.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was they paid half of it. We had that hailstorm a couple of years ago, and they only fixed half of it. And well, then this last spring and summer we had all that rain and snow. It leaked, and they finally got up there again, and the appraiser said that should have been fixed the first time. So that's what they did now, finally fixed it. So hopefully we got a new roof there, and the insurance paid for it.
This is also regarding Lincoln Park Manor, the mixer that we had them fix.
Mm-hmm. The what?
The mixer for the kitchen.
Oh,
that industrial mixer. $6,882.10, which I think we had discussed.
I think we approved that because
we discussed
it was like $15,000 for a new one or something. Remember?
Not quite. Because it's not even a floor stand one; it's a countertop stand one. But this, I had discussed this briefly when we went up there to meet the new administrator, and they said they had called back and those people never answered, and now they've done this, that, and the other thing. So it's only a 60-day warranty, but it was not supposed to cost that.
What was the bid? Do you remember? There was a bid we approved.
I think you can buy a new one for under that, and we were thinking, well, we'll go ahead and fix it. It should have been probably maybe half the price.
Yeah, and I can't remember what the bids were for fixing it.
Would they already fix it?
Well, is it done now finally?
I assume that's why we got the bill.
Because the cook was complaining to me a week ago that
That's crazy.
where's the mixer they need it for making their bread or whatever.
Maybe we should call and find out if it's been delivered before we pay that. Let's not pay that right away.
I think it was, because I think the email said we had got it back, because originally they weren't going to let them pick it up until we paid.
Okay.
And I kept saying have never received an invoice. We can't pay something if we don't get an invoice.
Do you need a motion for this, Ray
You got an
Roofing?
estimate on it?
As long as you guys know I'm going to pay for it, I can just put that you
I think we did get an estimate on fixing it.
We got an estimate on that and a new one and
Well,
a used
ought to
one.
compare the two.
And say, yeah,
$7,000 is pretty high for
I
a mixture.
think that's more than double.
But we approved. You go back in minutes. I think in like June or May or something. We approved.
You approved it, but there was no dollar amount, and I don't think I ever got the estimates myself. So.
Oh, I thought they gave us an estimate like a new one was
They
10 or
gave
12.
you guys, but I didn't never receive it.
I maybe have that at home. And we fixed it because it was cheaper, and the guy said it would
Well,
be
yeah, but you
good.
got to stick to the estimates. You can't double the estimate.
I don't know I don't know if the estimate is doubled. I don't remember it being 3.
Why does the county own that stand mixer?
What is what?
Why does the county own that?
Why do we own the refrigerators? Why do we own the beds? Why do we? I mean, I've never rented from a landlord that owns my appliances, or I guess not those type of appliances.
We inherited them through the years. Other commissioners must have bought them.
Hopefully we'll resolve that issue shortly.
I can call.
I think
Do you
we ought
need
to take a look at the estimate.
A special motion for Ray Roofing, Dawn, or just the approval of the bill? We already hired them.
If you guys just approve me to pay it mid-month.
Yeah, pay rate.
and I'll just
Approval
put it in.
to, yes.
Pay
Any
rate.
objections? Approval to pay for the insurance claim on the TPO portion of the roofing. Okay, and then we got a check from Lincoln Park Manor for $3,000. And we got an email from Lincoln Park Manor from Beth Shard that says the census. Well, this check is dated 8/22 of 19. I don't know.
That's 3 months
When
ago.
she dropped it off, he told her to take it out of the drawer, right, November, is that what I wrote?
November 2019, but that means it would have been for October. because how could they have a census? It's only November now. The census would have been from the month prior, and I think that's the way the lease is written. What they pay in that month is for the census that they took because that last month has ended. So it was 31 and a half. And you can respond to her that we don't need a daily breakdown. We just need a monthly amount. Unless, well, yeah, did you forward that?
Yes. I
Yeah, you
believe I
just
did.
forwarded that. If you would just respond.
This is for 1 month, or?
That's 1 month. And this is from Beth Valier.
This is.
This is from the NCK Healthcare Coalition. The upcoming Preparedness Summit on April 24th, 2020. Participation in quarterly meetings or in actual drills or exercises. And she would like to come and share how the Healthcare Emergency Preparedness Program for the state of Kansas is being orchestrated. Beth Valier, North Central Kansas Readiness and Response Coordinator from the North Central Kansas Healthcare Coalition. And the Web Fund sent their recommendations for approval for the interest grants. This is for the, those are all the applications. So web disbursements from October 2019. Sylvan Grove Public Library, $750. Vesper Men's Club, $1,800. Lincoln Area Chamber of Commerce, $6,107. And that one has a note that says, do not send until we know if they need all the funds.
She said that they had applied for a GL Hewitt grant, and
If they didn't get that, then they can't make the total, so.
I took it that if they didn't get the grant, then they approved that at a dollar amount, but if they do get the grant, then it would just be the difference, is what Deb said this morning. But
The Chamber also applied for the GL Hewitt Project Drive grant with hopes of gaining the majority of funds to order the necessary equipment, but it is unknown yet whether any funds have been awarded. As a completely membership and donation supported nonprofit, there is very little budget for equipment upgrades. The expansion of services has the ability to provide another revenue stream for the Chamber going forward. The Chamber has one additional revenue stream in partnership with Live Lincoln County Magazine, and is still unknown at this time how much revenue might be available. So the total project for a printer, copier, scanner, QuickBooks, Office 365, desktop, monitor, UPS, battery backup, paper, toner, flyers, info sheets, copying and scanning, $6,107. Lincoln Area Chamber of Commerce is positioning themselves to begin offering printing, copying, and scanning services for the greater community to support our local business economy and cut down on trips out of town for services that support local customers. So, they're...
Does that agree with Paul Prince, I wonder?
Do they do paper
I'm not sure.
printing or just screen,
just
screen printing? But isn't Lincoln County Economic Development going to start funding through the chamber?
Mhm.
Why say let's formally approve the two, and then we'll wait and see what we hear from the others. I move to approve the web disbursements for October 2019 to Sylvan Grove Public Library for $750, and Vesper Men's Club for $1,800.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the disbursement of funds from the interest collected for the year. And I think there still might be just a tad bit left in that fund.
Well, we got a, what if on there too, don't we?
Well, the 6,000, but I mean, in addition to that, there might be 1,000 or 2,000 left in there. Any further discussion? Those in favor vote aye. Aye.
Right.
Motion carries.
So we're gonna wait on the chamber?
We'll just see if they respond, and then we can approve that. We also got an email from Jim Hollinger. I don't recognize that name. Oh, from Ray Roofing. It said, I have sourced out some double dome skylights to fit your skylights at Lincoln Park Manor. As you know, the insurance did not pay for the skylights at the facility. If you would like for Ray Roofing to install 9 double dome skylights, the price would be $6,500 with no tax. The sales tax exemption would still be in effect. You have a total of 10, but the 10th has already been replaced. Please let me know if you want me to order.
Well, I talked to that Jonathan. He said they're old and were cracking because of age, weather. I don't know.
Did they get cracked? Well, they obviously didn't get cracked because of the
Well, one of
hail.
them was cracked and they replaced it.
They replaced the one
It
that
was broken. So, I think we probably should, since we're fixing the whole roof. That would fix those also. Since they did the work on the roof, probably okay with me.
We got money programmed for it, might as well do it.
So I'll make a motion to hire Ray Roofing for the skylight windows.
I'll second that. We still have 70,000 in our maintenance fund outstanding yet.
Well, we used 70, it'd be about 80 now.
Yeah.
We have 120 we
Yeah,
can
but I mean, we got room to fix
Yeah.
those skylights.
Well, and when's the new budget start? January 1? Yeah, so we're in November.
Yeah, we're in good
And
shape.
we're at about 80 with the doors.
But I still want to discuss the withholding of certain amounts, because I had discussed this with the last year's commission about withholding the $12,500 that was half, 50% of what was owed in the back rent from the year prior from the prior owner. I still want to look at that, but I understand what you're saying. We've spent almost 80. Or
It'd be
around
about 80, but we was at 70. I just looked at, Don gave us the quarter, printout of what we spent, and we was about a 70 some. Now the doors are 6,000 some, and we
Plus
approved
2.
another 2. That's about 80. With this, it'd be about 85 probably. And you appropriated 120,
120
or you
for the current
budgeted
year.
120. So, yeah, we're within the 120
Sometime
budget.
I'd like to sit down and talk about the monies for our maintenance and what he owes and how we're gonna do it, and get down really as specific as we can, because that is gonna be an issue in the very near future. I expect him to come in with an offer of some sort, and we ought to be able to respond. We probably need to sit down and spend some time figuring out what our position is gonna be. Once we get an offer from him, then we'll know how to do it.
Are you talking about an offer on the rent, on the?
In the building, probably. But, no, I understand what you're saying. Well, I think we budgeted, right, you have, Alexis, since you've been commissioner, 120 approximately.
It's been 120 every year, and
Yeah.
then it was for 2020. It would be 100 even.
Have you used that 120 usually? You did,
We
but not
have.
quite this year. But the thing is right now, we've got a new roof, the doors are gonna be new. And you guys remodeled here a few years ago for what, $300,000 or $400,000?
I mean, there's no doubt that the skylights would add value to the building.
Yeah.
There's no doubt there.
Well, and while we fix the roof, I think they should be fixed too.
I move, we not move, I think, I interject this, and I shouldn't have, because we need to vote on that other thing. But I just brought this up as part of the discussions. We really need to sit down and do some dollar numbers,
I agree.
because I'm sure he's gonna come in, reasonably sure, with an offer
Okay.
to purchase, and we ought to be able to respond and
Determine
see
what-
how we can decide.
Determine what we have in it.
Well, and there's
what
probably
we-
gonna be some compromises on both sides if we're ever gonna get this done.
Okay,
Okay, so just for the skylights, any further discussion for the skylights? That's the motion, to go ahead and have Ray Roofing, who just did the TPO part of the roof, install the new skylights that weren't covered by the insurance. Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
and you got a good point, Jim, back to, you're right, we need to itemize what we've spent, and since I've been here, I kind of been in track of some of it, like the other years, I don't know, Alexis, you guys probably have that in file.
Well, we talked about withholding the 12,400, which I believe we did, because I think that rolled over. Dawn, do you remember it rolled over? I think we did have that much left over last year that rolled over into the general fund capital outlay, or capital improvement. So anything that is not spent between now and December 31st could do the same thing.
You roll that over to next year?
Into the general fund, which means we actually get to spend that elsewhere, even though it was previously allocated just for the line item for the nursing home.
Do we do that for every department?
Only within the general fund itself.
Well, oh, I see, okay.
So
Not like the EMS department has their own budget, they keep that, even if they don't spend that much.
right, most of the other departments have their own capital outlay where when they have anything left over in their regular line item expenses, it rolls into that. Then you can make purchases out of that.
Sure.
And, but I'm still confused. Do we still have the landfill under general fund?
No, it's a separate
It's separate.
fund.
Okay. Because we did spend, and we still, I don't think we've ever straightened that out. Or are they paying for it, Dawn? When the highway department uses that crushed concrete that the landfill paid for, are they paying that? Okay. So the landfill had capital outlay that paid to crush concrete that then the highway department is essentially purchasing from the landfill to kind of pay them back for fronting that bill, so to speak.
Okay.
I don't know if that's been figured out monetarily, if it'll ever pay for itself or not, but you can do things like that. But you can't take from, the health department and roll their funds into our general fund. It just goes into their own capital outlay.
And that goes for, like, the sheriff's department keeps theirs, and the highway department theirs.
Well, the highway department's in the general fund, right?
The highway department is not in the general fund, so they keep theirs. The sheriff's department is in the general fund, so they don't keep theirs.
Oh,
So anything that's a 10 account is county general.
Okay.
why is
Now that I'm
the
thoroughly
sheriff's
confused.
department in the general fund?
I have no idea, always have been. Now they're
That's the
special
way they did it,
vehicles
that's
outside.
the way they did it, so that's the way we always do it.
But you have to fund the sheriff's office whether they run out of budget or not, because that's
Well,
one of
that's
the
probably why then, so that the
stipulations.
general fund can cover it if and when it goes over. Excuse me, I'm gonna grab a pen. Okay,
Don't we have to fund most of the elected officials like that, or is the
no.
sheriff is the exception?
We're all county general, I don't know why, or there's probably a statute that says that.
Okay, then we have an email from Mr. Granzo at the hospital. I'm in receipt of your email. I've consulted, that's the one that I sent about us asking for the records for the contract. I've consulted our attorney on your request. We will do our best to fulfill your request, but it may take several weeks to find and copy and appropriately redact the documents. In addition, our attorney has asked to review the documents before we submit them to you. We will also estimate the cost of this project to the hospital and will bill you for our time and supply costs. We will provide you with the estimate and will expect payment prior to delivering the documents. I'm a little concerned with how many attorney fees they've racked up in the last year. It's
Yeah,
quite the burden on their own budget. I mean, if he has been a CEO or administrator of a hospital for so many years, how does he not know which records are appropriate to copy and hand out and not? Why do you need an attorney's opinion
Well,
to figure out your own job?
well, and
I mean, that
also,
blows
don't we
my
have
mind.
the authority to see those documents too?
We do.
Legally?
We could walk up there
Legally.
and inspect them.
Well, then why redact them, he says, like,
HIPAA, in case he has some HIPAA information.
well,
Well,
there's HIPAA, I can see it, but
If
but
in the
financials
contract,
aren't.
right, if nothing financial is HIPAA, and if in the contract it said, with Alexis, social security number 672, whatever, then that could be redacted, if that's on the contract.
Personal
But I highly
information.
doubt that information would be on the actual
Well, it may
signed
be for
contract.
hiring a doctor, they probably have their personal information, not a contract, maybe. whatever.
I just can't believe that you would need to consult an attorney on every last thing you do when you're.
Well, he's dealing with us, and it isn't like we're a third, an outside third party. That we're part of the.
Well, let's not forget this is the same attorney we spent $20,000 on and didn't get one step of headway with the dealings that we've done with the nursing home. So let's look at the minutes.
I've reviewed the minutes, and
They look all right.
I think
Could you
they're
pass
okay.
those to Dawn, please?
I move we approve them as written.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from October 31st, 2019, which was a Thursday, but it served as our regular meeting and end of the month where we approved accounts payable and payroll. Is there any further discussion? You know, I forgot to make an actual motion to appoint Brendan Mackay as the regional.
LEC
No,
deal.
you did it.
Oh, I did?
Yeah,
Well,
it's,
you have it
it's
up
in there.
On the right of it.
But this is for the board, the LEPC. There was also some regional.
Up in his section, it's kind
Oh.
of mingled in there, but you did it.
Oh, because I asked him. And, okay,
Right.
okay,
You're good.
okay, thank you. All right, then that's it, I guess. Any further discussion? Those in favor vote aye.
Right.
Aye. Motion carries.
Didn't mean to cut you off, but I think it's in his long section.
I think it'd be appropriate if we actually addressed the bus board about them not really needing to convene after the end of the year. So how do we want to go about that? Because I do not have contact information. Do we just want to tell the president?
All you need.
Do you have her email, Dawn? And I will make it, I will send it from
Well, Anna
the
Marie
commission.
resigned,
Don't believe
right?
she has an email.
Okay,
She resigned effective the end of the year.
right.
Yeah,
But I
move
think
on.
we need to tell her so that she can tell at the next meeting.
Mrs. the Florence is still in it, right? Those two, right?
Yeah.
There are about 6 or 7 of them.
Those are the only two I already know.
Me too.
Yeah, just
We should get
tell
us
them.
up.
I mean, they need an official notice.
Yeah. We find
Speaking
out
of-
further
We
news.
should probably make a letter to Anna Marie since she.
I know, but who's we and who's going to print it and who's going to send it?
And do you send all that, anytime we do something like that, to all of our other departments? So they know that too?
Well, I've been emailing,
Yeah,
so.
email it to
Yeah.
them.
We need to do that though and not drop it on
Because-
Dawn.
They want to know when,
I can call and ask her, but I'm assuming she does not have.
Do you want to just give me your phone number and I'll call her and let her know? That way at least we have
that'd be the
Touch base.
easiest way to do it.
And did we do an official,
Motion, didn't it?
we did that, it's in the minutes, but did we do an official motion, or we did a motion, did we contact and with a rejection letter to the HR applicants?
I have not, just because I don't have time.
How do we want to do that?
With
Just-
Don normally sends
Are we going to invite them to reapply for a new position? I think we need to move forward with that, one way or another.
a position for what, assistant to Don?
Well, that's what we haven't determined.
Well, we talked about it, we didn't approve it.
So what do you want to do?
Don, do you want to have an assistant for you that you get to determine who to hire?
It's not my decision, it's your guys' decision.
I know, but you're involved in the HR, obviously.
I'm okay either way, I just know I need help.
That's fine.
So,
Let's,
But you're doing the HR stuff, so I think we would like to accommodate what you would like. I would, because you're doing it now. I mean, we can, I don't want to make a decision that you don't like.
let's ask them to reapply for a clerk's position rather than HR.
okay,
And then, you can put in there, if you want it in the application, it is anticipated that with educational opportunities, this may morph into an HR position at some future time. So that's what we intend to do, right?
that would be my intentions if that's what we choose to do.
Well, I think that's the idea.
That'd be fine with me.
Do you wanna try one more time? I mean,
Alexis, what do you think?
I don't feel like we're solving the issue. I feel like we're going back to do what we originally tried to avoid doing, going outside the box in the first place. I feel like if you hire someone, they need to get the education regardless. If you hired me to come in and figure out the new HR laws, I would be doing that. You know, I mean, we may not have the money to hire someone to come in from a corporate HR position and just re-implement everything that they already know. But that means that we would be hiring someone expecting them to update themselves and then implement. I don't really see hiring Dawn, a wingman, as being a professional way to address the HR situation. We're already paying out for her office to do it. If they come in and they get a full-time situation with full-time package of benefits and everything else, they should be able to learn what they need to learn and have their own office and be standalone. Otherwise, why don't we just hire a part-time person and keep payroll in that office and not pay overtime for
The
it?
5 people we got as a result of our advertising were not satisfactory. They were not HR. There's none of those people we would have hired for an HR person. We might hire them as a
But we're
clerk.
also not paying what you can get in a corporate HR
Understand that.
situation.
We never will either.
I know.
That's why I think the way we're
Why
talking,
not outsource the payroll, like to ADP or something? That's what we.
Because someone still ultimately has to manually input through contact. It's just, we have to manually, am I wrong?
we can cut the payroll system completely and
Oh, I see, okay, so not go through contact.
we would still have to data enter, like, I don't know what ADP does, but I'm assuming
They do
they do
everything.
payroll, they
They do
also,
everything. They do your
you
deductions,
pay them
they do
X
your,
amount of dollars and
and
they,
it's per employee, it's like a stage of employees. If you have X or under, you pay this amount. If you have Y to Z, you pay this amount.
and how do they get the money? Do they bill you monthly for all your deductions?
No, they pull it straight out of your account.
So like they would pay the health insurance bill, they would pay the taxes, they would do all of that.
what do they charge?
For this kind of thing, I have no idea. I know what we pay for a little company, which is not a whole lot, but
The other option that you could do is just to hire a clerk secretary and tell them, we intend on you being the HR person and we'll send you the education to do that. And build them up, but tell them you're not gonna pay them.
hire an HR trainee.
That defeats the whole purpose of having a separate office where an employee can come where they're not dealing with a particular elected official.
I think
No,
they
they
could,
wouldn't even be in me. You would hire them and you would be over the top of them, telling them and sending them for education and
Well, I thought that's what we were doing the last time, is kind of what I was going for. I mean, we have to do something. At this point,
Which
I don't
last-
have a solution.
last employee
but-
you hired wasn't ready to take on the whole HR responsibilities. And and unless you pay a veteran HR person, you're gonna have to pay more money than we can afford probably to get a experienced HR person. So we're almost
There-
forced to get a trainee type that maybe Dawn could train, she's going to anyway, that how our system works, HR, or our payroll and all that stuff. I think we could have her in her office, and then when she gets trained enough, or he, whoever, then can move over full-time and be their own person, HR. But they're all gonna need training up front for 6 months or a year, no matter how you get, no matter what situation you get
Well,
here.
there are two aspects to it. One is purely financial, doing the payroll, data entry, et cetera, et cetera. The other is personnel. You don't want to put someone under someone else to learn the personnel through that paradigm, then expect them to go out on their own and be unbiased. It doesn't work that way. If we're talking strictly numbers, fine. They can train under anyone and learn data entry. But if we want someone to deal with personnel through an HR aspect that is completely neutral, then you don't want to wingman someone and then expect them to go out and have any individual authority. I mean, at this point, our employees aren't necessarily going to anyone except Dawn anyhow, but is that what you want for the future? I mean, if we outsource the payroll and the whole financial part of it, then really all we need is someone to keep employee files and be available. That's not a full-time job.
But you need somebody to help hire and fire and
Right.
handle complaints and
Right.
all that stuff.
I I have not had time. I know there was a company that was at our clerk's meeting that does that for bigger corporations.
You mean you can outsource that?
You could outsource HR, recruiting, and training. And,
Everything.
Yeah, but I don't know what they charge, and I don't know.
We might almost need
They're
to
like
do
a
that
staffing
since our
agency.
pool is so small here. You're not going to get someone that's outside of the
Well, maybe we
already
could do that.
integrated social system.
Okay.
Maybe we should check into that, contract the whole job out.
Okay, it is now.
I may have to come up with the job code so that you guys can hear, because I forgot to plug that back in.
I can tell you from our experience with ADP, and this is just me as an employee of Eagle, we use ADP currently, and you're able to do your time card on your phone, on your apps, on your PCs, state managed 401k accounts, those types of things.
Everything except for health insurance, right?
No, they deduct for health insurance, they deduct for life insurance, any other deduction that you would have.
They pay the deductions for it, yeah.
They take it out.
Yeah.
So that's just speaking on my experience with ADP. It has been very helpful.
Is this Rhonda?
They manage quite a lot of things.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hi, Rhonda. This is Dawn.
Hi, Dawn. How are you?
Good. Can you hear us?
And the rest of us commissioners are here also. Alexis,
Good morning.
Jim, and me, myself, Rhonda. Hi.
Good morning.
Can you hear them?
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I told Rhonda I'd kind of lead in. There's still a few questions about what you guys approved and didn't approve the other day, or whatever date that was, October 17th, for health insurance. So one of the questions, and Rhonda, I forgot to grab my notes, so you're going to have to help jog my memory, but one of the questions was, did you want to pay to do the wellness program or not? And I think that was a $14,000 expense.
Right, that keeps a wellness program going, and it's the 14. If everybody does it, I believe it's the 14,895. If just the people who are on the medical do it, it's the 14,525. That was based on the 56 people, I believe, that we had. Which I know, you've added 3 people, so, but that was based on our numbers that we quoted on originally.
Okay, so what I remember is that you had the package drawn up with the A and B plans under Blue Cross, and the only change we really edited was to make a $100 disbursement county share across the board for the HSA, and that's the only change I remember. Everything else you had on there, I thought, is what we went with.
The motion.
I
The
just wasn't sure if that was all included in the motion, Alexis, so I wanted to be sure before we, proceeded with getting all of that paperwork ready. Now, obviously, we knew on the flex, we talked about that, but I honestly couldn't remember in my notes. I didn't see anything about the wellness.
The motion was just said Blue Cross Blue Shield. So that's, I guess, what
Yeah,
our question is
yeah.
what was the intention?
Okay, so then for clarification, the wellness program, are we offering a deduction to the employees who participate? And if so, does that become an expense to the county as far as the overall portion of their premium? Or what is the main word there? Their
Premium.
Yeah.
Yes, it would. For instance, if they participate, I think you were doing, was it $20 or something off of the premium? I mean, you don't have to do that, but I think it encourages people to participate when you have an incentive like that. So it would mean that they would be paying, for instance, $20 less towards their health insurance or whatever amount that you all would decide. And that's why I wanted to revisit it to see for sure what the plan would be if you wanted to do that at the end of the first year when the second screenings were started for the prior year or for the 21 year. And just hold all the numbers the same for this year, or if you were wanting to, if they did the screenings and the health risk assessments online, that they could get the once they had the screening, the screeners come out. That includes screeners coming out and doing all of the screenings. So it's usually one morning early. It's their fasting screenings, and everyone comes in and gets their finger pricked and meets with an RN. It takes about 10 minutes.
It takes about 5 to 7 minutes per person. That's all it takes.
And
So we
then they
can't,
get their
we can't hire our own health department or our own hospital clinics or anything like that?
Well, what happens is the data has to meet the program. All of the data has to be included that is needed to do a year-over-year comparison and do your risk assessments, and then provide you an accurate accounting for your return on investment.
So basically, the 14,000 for 56 employees is what that is. It creates the whole platform to produce that wellness program, and then we would have to also absorb whatever dollar amount we gave as an incentive to lower each individual's premium if they participate.
Right. It's an all-inclusive with, again, lunch and learns and on-site and those kinds of things, program for an activity-based wellness program.
So would that be like a once-a-month type? How much time commitment is it for the individual?
The employees will have a monthly challenge to, get their points, and they'll need to get those in monthly. And then quarterly, there's a lunch and learn, which counts for points as well.
Some of the challenges, it's Alice speaking. Some of the challenges are like brush your teeth every day. Just thinking about good dental hygiene and how it relates to heart health. Some of the challenges are a little more involved depending on how you want to impact the county's health. This is something you can talk to our wellness coordinator about. You can develop some that are a little more involved. One of our accounts just recently, I guess they're doing it this month, is doing for November a gratitude challenge. To just say something that you're grateful for each day and just submit that, and you get your 5 or 10 points for that. So
who is the individual in contact with this third-party company that produces the wellness?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So each
Chad Fernandez with Priority Wellness is our wellness coordinator.
Okay, so
and he's the one that he would submit all the. He would bring the screeners. They would submit all the data. All of that would be put into the Priority Wellness wellness platform on the website. Employees can log in to see their points. It's all confidential, that kind of thing. They have access to Chaz every month. He does some personal training sometimes and some different things that, as individuals reach out to him, nutrition, that kind of thing. Yeah.
My question is, does each individual employee contact and maintain a relationship with Priority Wellness?
Well, they can, but as far as the points goes, we would need a wellness coordinator, not the points. Yeah, they can. Mm-hmm.
But your company, are you facilitating that as well as part of your fee to us?
It's not in our fees at all, Alexis. This is strictly through Priority Wellness, and it's Chad Fernandez. And it's all,
so you could take it or you could not take it. It's exclusive of what we do.
So I guess where I'm going with that is, for the $14,000 fee to the county to provide this platform for 50-some people, is Priority Wellness going to keep track of everyone's points and then let us know whether each employee gets their deduction, etc.?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we're contracting through Priority Wellness through you if we do this. And then if we have, is it based on the participants or just how large of a platform they provide?
The fee is based on participants depending on the size of the group. Yeah.
Okay, so if we only had 10 people participating, what do we have participating now?
Probably about half.
50%.
Yeah, but I'm assuming that they will.
Yeah, everybody participates because you want everybody to do a screening and you want everybody to do a health risk assessment because people will want to have an opportunity to get their premiums reduced. So the fee is based on the number of eligibles.
So do we know what the new cost of the county is the way I did the math, unless I'm wrong, they were going to, an individual was going to incur a $20 a month increase with the new plan simply because they weren't going to get their $40 deduction if they were in the wellness program. So if we did a $20 payback for participating, then they could break even between what they were paying last year and what they're paying this year for essentially the same plan, except a few differences with the emergency room, etc. So do we have a new number for the county portion? Because I know we were pushing if we had every single employee sign up that wasn't signed up at the most costly plan, I know we were pushing our budget line item.
So
I think we had everybody in, and we were still under budget a little bit. And I'm sorry, I don't believe that the employees are paying more.
yeah, they are.
They are if they're in the wellness program now.
I can tell you, I think mine's going to be $60 more. But I'm also on the family plan because you guys increased the dollar amount that individuals were paying. So anybody that's on a dependent plan is going to be paying more.
So if people make their points too, does Blue Cross lower their rates for that individual, or only the county?
No.
The county has to
No.
absorb that, lower on.
Yes,
The-
like you do now. I mean, it's all part of the costs involved that you pay the state. If they don't use it, you're still paying the state the same amount. If they do use it, you're still paying the state the same amount.
The
So,
profit in this program comes in the subsequent year claims, in that you're not gonna see a direct match, particularly the first year, we're gonna lose money the first year.
Hopefully we'll have healthier people in the long run.
That's
and
the whole
have
idea.
Have less claims.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the idea.
right, it's why we want every eligible person to do the screening and do the health risk assessment so we can see progress moving forward. And if we do those screenings right after the first of the year and the health risk assessment, then they can start getting their 20 or 40, whatever you all want to do. That's why we put a wellness program in there. If you don't have something in there, they are going to, and you're going to pay more long term without starting to control some risk. And with this program, you get accountability on the progress with year-over-year reports on how you're progressing.
It's all be identified, but you get an aggregate look at has our blood pressure as a group gone down, has our cholesterol gone down, have we lost, 30 pounds as a group overall, that kind of data.
So I think the question for you guys is do you want to pay for the wellness program? And then if you do you want to offer some kind of premium discount to get employees to participate? And if you do want to do that, can they use the points that they've accrued this year to qualify for the credit for next year? And then whatever they work on for points for next year that you guys are paying for will then be a credit for the following year. That's how the state's currently working on it. So everything that we're getting right now is our credit for next year, to earn our credit for next year. So you wouldn't necessarily, or do we just not?
Do we have any idea what that would cost us up front, extra? In other words, the $14,000, but to take the employees' points.
Well, I just did the math. If it was $40 an employee for 70 employees for the year, it's almost $30,000.
I think we have about 30 that are getting their points.
So $30,000 plus 14
so half
up
of
front.
that. So,
So 14 up front also.
So a
So
total
we're talking about 45,000 approximately.
30,000
extra above
30,000
our
is-
normal,
Yeah.
what we would pay here.
And I think we figured out we had about 65.
We were under
I
our
did it for
budget by
70, just,
65.
which is 28,800 or something.
And that's if we have the max employee.
But, and that's at $40 a month. The way I figured it the last time Rhonda was here, we could do $20, and it would just about break even as to what you're getting now. Because I think it was, like, our new plan is cheaper, but with the deduction that they got in the old plan, it was even cheaper by $20. So eventually, you'd pay $40 more if you weren't participating in the wellness plan anymore. So if we could cut $20 out, it would break even. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I was
that's-
thinking you
but
guys have
that's,
done 20%, but it's 10%.
So that's based
For what?
on full employment
For the
on
match. You guys approved a 10%
10%, yeah.
based upon, that's what they,
For
the-
employees are paying.
Yeah.
right? I was thinking you had gone up to 20%, so.
No, we
that was
didn't
my-
change it because we talked about trying to keep it the same this year. Because the best thing about not being in the state plan is we can It's
Check.
reassess it yearly.
You can modify
If
it.
we need to slightly
If you want
increase the percentage in the employee or any of the other particular plans, we can do that yearly instead of at a 3-year shot.
This number that we come up with so far, that's based on full employment, right? Like 56 employees? And how many do we currently have right now, Don?
We have 56 employees now. I think we have 65 plans that could be
65
taken.
total would be plan, that's what the insurance is based on, that 65 number, okay. So we're 10 employees, approximately 9 employees under that right now, okay.
And you're always going to have employees that are going to refuse to participate.
Oh, sure.
And because it's just too much hassle, and they don't want to.
Yeah, they don't want to deal with it.
It's not worth the $40 a month. But
Well, I believe we ought to do the wellness program, let them roll their points over and do the $20 reduction.
Could you hear that, Rhonda?
Just summarize it for me if you would.
Yes,
Jim,
I think we ought to take the wellness program, let the employees roll their points over, and do it at a $20 rate.
So in January, when they would do their health screenings and their health risk assessment, then in February, if they've completed that portion, you want them to get their $20 this year?
no, they wouldn't get it until the following year. So anybody that has their points currently or gets their points by the end of the year are the only ones that would qualify for the rebate.
Okay.
2020.
Okay.
And then we basically like the state is. So then they have the entire calendar year to get all of their points for the following year.
Okay. That's normally how it's done. But we would still want to do screenings and get the health risk assessments.
Anytime
Probably
during
one-
the year.
Yeah.
We might want to do that. We need to probably,
I think you'd want to do that early on to get them started. That'll give them more points for the next year.
yeah. So yeah, that way they can start building them. Yes. And then you would have another screening at the end of the year or right after the first of the year to see again for them to start building for the next year. I think that would work. I really do.
Sounds good to me.
So is there a motion?
I don't know if we need a
And
motion. I
again, we
think
would want every eligible
just approve.
person, so even if I'm full-time and not on your group, they would want to, just in case they come on your group, to get their screening so they would start building points as well.
Right. The idea is anybody that was participating, because we had already told people if they were participating in the state wellness plan, it wasn't going to roll over. But basically what we're doing is we're amending our plan so that those who participated in 2019 can get their deduction for 2020 at the rate of $20 a month. Then
And
those,
Dawn, you'll be able to provide you'll be able to get your report from the state, I'm assuming.
Yes.
then those who participate in the wellness program during the year 2020 will be eligible for that reduction in 2021.
Do we need a motion
Okay.
to
That-
authorize
that sounds good.
14,000?
No. As far as I saw it, that was part of what she presented at the last, well, we didn't talk about the details of it.
As long as you
Specifically,
understand that, Rhonda, we're good. We don't need a motion for that as long as you understand what we had in mind.
unless we have
That sounds
an
good.
objection from the board.
Well, we're authorizing this 14,000 to implement this.
Well,
Well,
you're
this
also
pro-
authorizing a $20
And that,
discount.
Yeah, maybe we ought to have a motion because we are talking money here, more than we previously, had stated.
Well, let's pull out an exact example here. Can we just go with, I don't know what information you have in front of you, Rhonda. Can we go with an example just to put on the table with the employee only plan A?
Okay, the employee only on Plan A.
Uh-huh.
What the employee's paying, Alexis, or what the county's paying?
Both. We need to look at that and just look at change our numbers here so we kind of have an idea.
Plan A, and I'm not sure if you guys, this is with 67 people enrolled, we had 65.55, 61.92 for medical, 363 for dental, totaling to 65.65.
Yes.
So if I am on the wellness program, and you're going to do the 20, so that would take me down to 45.55 electives.
Okay, and so,
Are we on the same page?
yes ma'am, and I was just looking, because I was trying to figure out, so last year, the same employee on the same plan was paying $65.57 with a $40 discount?
You were paying $81.57 with a 40.
So the premium would be
Hang on,
20
let me-
less here, huh?
Let me look somebody up. I think they were paying a total of $81.47, and that included their discount.
That included?
Yeah, I'm showing $84 for Plan A for the state. I think that's the renewal though.
But that's with the discount? Why would we have that calculated as a discount on there?
Hang on. Let me get into somebody that I know.
I think it's this.
Because I didn't include the wellness in mine. I just got the state numbers.
Right.
So if they were able to earn 40 points, though, that $84 would take it down on Plan A down to $44. Is that what you're saying?
But Dawn was
that
saying
was
she
no.
thinks the 80 is the discount.
No, I stand corrected. It's $42.71 is what an employee that had their points was paying.
Okay. Where I was going with it, with the $20 discount and the reduced overall price, they're still paying around the same. Well, it's within a few dollars. I think that's fair.
Right, because it's 45.57 versus 42, Don?
Yeah.
$42.71.
Yeah, this would be their new price if
So
we
that's the
participate.
premium, that's
Yeah, if
cheap,
for one
isn't
it is.
really,
Well, that's only 10%.
yeah.
So we're absorbing the 90% plus the $20.
Well, I move we accept the wellness program at $20 reduction level.
Which also includes this
Oh,
$14,000.
yeah, all that, yeah.
Which also includes that 14,000. I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to go ahead and adopt the wellness program and make the reduction for the participation at $20 a month per plan. Correct?
That's right.
Do you have any more questions, Rhonda?
I don't, and again, I knew our total package was, the $1,085,507.52 with all 67 enrolled. What we didn't have in that would be our $20 per contract to add into the wellness. I just, again, trying to watch budget and everything, just want to make sure what we were doing there. So, and again, we know the flex is high. I think I shared that's with everybody participating in everything, and we know that won't happen. And again, I think we're still within budget, but I just want to be clear so we don't have something that we shouldn't have when I bring contracts up for you all to sign.
Okay, so I'm getting, if we had,
We're putting our information together for open enrollment, and I didn't want to put that wellness is coming soon if it wasn't coming.
Right.
Wellness information there.
and
So,
doing
in
the
our
math,
disclaimer-
for 2020 doing the math, we only have about 30 participating. So that's 20, so that's half, so that's about another 7 or 8,000. But then for 2021, if we had 100% participation at 65 plans, I'm getting 15,600 in addition to the 14,000. So we're still looking at about 30,000 and less than that for this particular year because we know how many are participating now. What will
Right.
come late? I'm sorry?
She said right.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought you said what. Okay. All right. I will call for a vote then if we don't have any further discussion. Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, Rhonda, so then you know what you need to put in your package.
There was one other thing.
We are ready.
Oh, awesome.
So the or the vision, do you guys want to approve them offering vision at the employee level, or can they just go ahead and offer it? Because the vision part of it was not there. And normally, like right now, we have Superior Vision, I believe, and it's whatever the monthly premium is. Those that choose to enroll in it, choose to enroll in it. It's just one of the things, and they pay 100% of the cost. I think she gave you some providers of another company, which has our local optician in it, And so the question is do you guys need to approve that, or are you okay with her offering that at the employee's expense, or, because it's kind of outside of the health insurance.
We're not paying for it, so
No.
I think just go ahead and offer that.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, I think it just kind of completes, that was the other offering in the state that we, your employees weren't too happy with that, and I think your providers there in town are all in that Vision Care Direct and in the surrounding areas. So, again, it's totally voluntary if they choose it, they can.
And will that also be taken out before taxes if they enroll in that portion? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
Yep, gotta go with that.
Sure.
And then one
Yeah,
other
that
thing,
saves
just
you all
to
money.
make sure that you guys are aware of. So when we sign the contract with the people that are doing the HSA company, HSA and the HRA, they are also taking over the pre-tax Section 125 plan for Lincoln County. Currently, it's with Aflac, where Aflac has to see every employee to get them to sign off on it. They will actually take that over.
Premium wellness or priority wellness? Is that-
No, it's the Section 125 plan. It's what allows
the
you.
HSA
You have to
plan. I'm
participate
sorry.
in it.
I was thinking wellness.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
in order to be able to get it tax exempt on your taxes. So that was one of the major changes that we would have.
When you say they's gonna take it over, who's they?
The company that's doing the HSA, HRA, that's going to be part of their
Yeah.
contract.
Who's that company, Rhonda?
It's Employee Benefit Corporation. They will be administering all of those 125 products, such as your flexible spending account, health reimbursement account, and your HSA account.
It's called Employee Benefit Corp.
And you'll see that's where I have Flex, HSA, and HRA administration. So they'll hold your document for allowing for pre-tax.
Okay.
Aflac currently has it. This way, everything's included, and we will add having the. And I talked to Tammy about that the day I was up there. That we would need a list of all the products that she is offering, so those would be included as a taxable pre-tax deduction. And if you are offering Aflac, your employees may still need to. We always suggest have them waive off if they don't want it. Even if they're, not taking it, waive off. That protects the county against someone saying, hey, I enrolled in that and I never got a contract, or I have cancer now and I wanted to take that and I know I did. It takes the liability and possible, issues away from you if they just waive off every year. And so that's something that we do recommend if you're offering voluntary products.
Just
Would
so
we
that you
still-
guys are aware of it.
We'll have them sign off at open enrollment.
Okay. So you could still have a Aflac or some employees?
Yes, you can still have that. It's just that
And would you administer
currently
that?
Aflac, it requires to see every employee in order to waive that and also get their health insurance pre-tax, and it's just going to move companies, and it's not going to be the health insurance side of it that's going to take care of that. Probably where it should
Yeah,
have
and
been all
they'll
along.
still just need to waive off, and if they're, just so that we've got the information, we usually have a page in our book that says these are the products that Aflac is offering, and that way they know what they are, and they still need to go see the Aflac rep and say, I'm not making any changes, or I'm waiving off. And we will do everything we can so we don't get tied up. If they're not interested, we want them to, not push the employee, but to let them sign the waiver.
And you'll be helping to coordinate that, Rhonda?
Yes, we'll coordinate that with her. Dawn and I have already talked about maybe having her at the courthouse today where they're doing the meetings.
Okay.
And we'll confirm everything with Dawn this afternoon or tomorrow.
Okay. Anything else, Don?
No, I think that was it, right, on our to-do list?
I think so, Dawn. I appreciate the time with you all, and I think, just the positive note here is next year we'll be all organized and it'll be a routine. So
Okay.
less
Anything
stress
else,
is
Alexis?
coming.
Jim, you got anything else?
No, we're good. Thanks very much, Rhonda.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Thank you. Good day. Take care. Thanks.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. I apologize, we're running a little bit behind, but Robert, Wetterly,
Yes.
please come forward. I think we're ready for you.
Still my book.
You can come up with a chair if you want to.
Oh, I'll stand. Trying to make
Okay.
it short and sweet for you.
Okay.
My name is Robert Weatherly. I'm with Eagle Communications. Obviously, you know about us being the internet provider and telephone provider here in town. We also do the technology services. So as far as managing internal networks and things like that, we acquired a company 3 years ago. It used to be called C-Core, based out of Hayes, and we transitioned them into our technology services division to now where we can actually manage internal networks as far as data management, bandwidth being passed through. Currently, Eagle, before that, was just an internet provider. My biggest example was we were bringing the water to the dam, but we had no control after the point of the dam. So whenever people would talk about internally, my computer's running slow, those types of things, those frustrations that customers had, they would automatically assume that was with Eagle. Well, at that point, we're just bringing, like I said, the water to the dam, we're the internet pipe coming into the building. We don't control the internal network. So we saw that need on our end to start doing those types of services. So 3 years ago, we acquired C-Core. We had some gentlemen step in that have many years of experience working with over 82 county governments here in the state of Kansas, which I believe there's 105. So we touched base with most of those. One of those gentlemen was Mike Dorfler, who helped actually design the initial Next Tech agreement that you guys are currently working on. So he has a good idea of what you guys have here. We'd love to have the opportunity to come in and put forth a bid on these internal services for the network. As you can see, Eagle has invested in the community. I've been the commercial sales rep for over 6 years for Ellsworth and Lincoln and Hayes. Lincoln was one of my territories, and you guys had asked for help. You needed solid internet, solid telephone, those types of products. Eagle went ahead and said, hey, you work with us, we get the 200 people to sign up, we'll help bring those benefits to Lincoln. So we provided a better service. We're able to keep the town up and running now. We're in the county building. We're providing telephone. We're providing internet to the sheriff's office, to all the other local county governments here in town as well. So it just makes sense for us to at least be able to put in a bid on these services. If we do win the bid on those types of services, you guys would have a one-call resolution. I think that's something that would take a lot of frustration off a lot of department heads, where previously maybe Next Tech's telling you, hey, this is not our problem, this is an Eagle problem. Eagle's saying, hey, we're just delivering internet to the building. We don't see the internal network. We can't help make the adjustments on the firewall and those types of things. So that would take that conflict out. You'd have a one-call resolution to be able to get quicker resolve to your guys' issues here in the county. So I'd just like to ask for us to have that opportunity. I have a gentleman that can come out probably this week, and we'll accommodate anybody that's willing to let us come in and take a quick look. We don't just want to copy and paste off of what's currently here. We want to see where you guys are at now and do an actual site visit, not just copy and paste off a current agreement.
I have a couple questions.
Yes, ma'am.
The current counties that you have, are you doing a contract with the whole county or by department, or how are they doing that?
Different counties ask for different things.
Okay. Any counties just touching our borders or right out?
Smith Center, I believe, is one that we work with. We work at the Sheriff's Department there. A lot of these guys, Michael Durfler and Craig, they've done that in previous lights.
Okay.
So,
okay. Just the Sheriff's Department there, for
just
example?
yep,
Okay.
that's one example. As far as working here in Lincoln, we work with Brenda White at the high school for the district office. So if you want to speak with somebody that's used our services, you can speak with her as a local reference. As far as internet and telephone, those types of things here, you can talk to most people. I probably have 95 to probably 98% of the business here in town on our fiber and our telephone service.
Do you do that, they call it TAS, and I don't even know what that stands for, but basically the leased equipment?
Yep, that is an option that we have. Like I said, Mike Dorfler, whenever he was in a previous life at Next Tech, is kind of the gentleman that came up with that. That allows us to go in, standardize across the board for the communities. We've seen it with schools, libraries, county offices where there's a hodgepodge of
Do you do that with the Sheriff's
computers.
Office in Smith Center?
It's Smith Center, yeah.
Okay, that's what
So-
I was just wondering.
We have, a lot of times they'll have a hodgepodge of different computers that were bought at different times, and then you run into an instance just like this year where Windows 10 is going to be, everybody's going to be required for support to be upgraded to Windows 10. So that allows us to come in and say, hey, what do you guys currently have on your PCs? What would you like to have on your PCs? We can provide a computer, either a desktop or a laptop, with those types of programs that you'd like to see on there. we roll it into either like a 36 or a 60-month term. We help support that piece of equipment. If something happens during that time, we come out, we replace it.
Do you also do individual diagnostics on each piece of equipment if they didn't want to TAS it?
Yep, if they don't want to TAS, we can just do it at an hourly rate. Our regular hourly rate is $120 an hour. If we do have some ways to get that hourly rate reduced all the way down to $85 an hour. Some communities will we do a prepay agreement to get that rate reduced. So you can get it down to, like I said, about $85 an hour. It's a $12,000 prepay. I always envision it as a bucket. We fill the bucket full of hours. You guys tell us who can call and remove hours out of that bucket. When the bucket runs dry, we refill it with more hours.
So then if someone had you come and do an individual diagnostic on their piece of equipment, would you still offer managed services if they didn't upgrade to either brand new, purchased, or leased?
Yep, we can just do that under an hourly rate.
Yeah,
If
that's
somebody
one
doesn't
thing.
want
Next
to be
Tech came in
involved.
and said that they would not offer managed services on anything that wasn't completely
They're
replaced.
not offering managed either if he's charging us a hourly wage.
No, he said to do the diagnostics he would charge the hourly, but you would...
No.
It would be included, the initial, I guess what I'm saying is the person can either be on the TAS or they cannot be on the TAS. Is that what we're speaking towards? If they choose not to be involved in the TAS agreement, we can do those types of work and we can just do it as an hourly rate. So if
Okay,
they
so
say,
you don't do managed service if you don't do the leased equipment.
As far as
I'm calling
PCs,
TAS leased, because that's
Yeah.
the only recognizable term I can
we do
use.
we can do it at just like a $25 an hour or $25 a month rate. For some people that don't want to do the whole 3 or 5 year commitment, we can just go on a monthly rate and say, hey, we'll manage and monitor that PC for $25 a PC. But at that point in time, it's almost worth just getting the new PC and getting the new monitor involved. So yes, we can do it just on somebody's piece of equipment that would like to have a managed service done. It's about a $25 hourly rate, or not an hourly rate, but a monthly rate for us to put our monitoring software on there and do the patch management and those types of things.
Where are you based out of Hayes?
We're based out of Hayes is where we have one of our head ends. We also have a local rep over in Salina for the Technology Services Division. He covers the eastern side of the state for us. We do have a local tech, Anthony, here, but he's more on the broadband side. So he's more hooking up internet, telephone, TV, that type of stuff. Our Technology Services Division is mostly based out of Hayes, and then like I said, we do have a rep in Salina as well. So we do have quick response to you.
Do we have Eagle Internet to this building?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
That was an instance pretty similar I can bring up. When we brought that fiber into the building in 2016, Eagle was here, we were ready to turn on that fiber at that point in time. We were not the ones managing the firewall. So it took 2 to 3 weeks for us to actually get somebody out here and help us get access into that firewall and be able to provide that internet service. So right now we're not able to monitor any of the inside traffic here. So when somebody complains in their department, I don't see the 50 meg fiber hitting my office. We don't have any way of controlling that currently. We don't configure the network. We don't have the port access to go in and say, hey, this port right here, we see if that's why that's dragging. If we did this, it will help you guys be more efficient. Like I said, it's kind of, we're bringing all the water to the dam, but we're not controlling anything past bringing the water to the dam and how it flows to all departments.
Well, I can save you some time and just say that we pretty much made the decision last week that each outlying department, well, the elected officials especially, were going to do what they wanted to do. So the sheriff's office didn't want to experiment with anyone new. They wanted to roll over with Next Tech. The health department kind of felt the same way, but we did have some feedback from our EMS that they were willing to open it up and see, so that you may contact them and they can kind of go from there. We don't have a lot of emergent need at our highway department either, so they're probably open to seeing what the difference is.
Yeah, I was here last week and made the point to stop and speak with everybody and get the authorization to come ask you guys for this opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is we won't be signing a contract across the board for everyone, because last week we pretty much made the determination that we were going to parcel it out.
Okay.
I know the sheriff's department is going to do what they want to do, and I know the health department is I mean, I think she talked to you, but I think they were
I think
leaning
they're happy
toward,
with what they have.
yeah, and those departments have.
Yeah, everybody,
Or-
some people it's worked great for, some people it hasn't, some people
Yeah.
want to see change. If you guys would just prefer me to work directly with department heads,
Yes.
I'm more than willing to do that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to come let you know why I was here and what we were going to be talking to those people about. So,
You do 24/7 service calls, middle of the night, you'll come in.
getting somebody out here in the middle of the night for a broken PC, that's going to be it's going to be hard to pull somebody out. Most of the time, if we can get on remotely, we can support those types of things. But if it's a PC that's broken down suddenly, that's going to be hard to pull a
See,
guy
that's
out.
one of the reasons the sheriff won't change,
Yeah.
because next tech comes out.
We can
Well,
always
the
make
sheriff
it-
needs, they need 24-hour service because of their type
So
of work.
will our emergency.
Not saying that we
EMS
can't
too,
make
yeah.
exceptions and that we won't work it through, because our job is to give you guys what you asked for. So if it's being done over there, there's no reason why we can't do it. Like I said, the gentleman, when I spoke with the under sheriff last week, I mentioned Mike Dorfler, and he said, yes, that's the gentleman that helped us put this together originally, and that he would be willing to have Mike come out and take a look at what they have existing. So I believe just the credibility that we bring with the people that have designed this TAS and the previous Next Tech agreement has allowed those people to feel trust in having us come by and at least have them take a look. So
And we have a lot of old equipment in some of the departments that can't be changed for a year, obviously for budget reasons. Can you still operate with 8-year-old computers and make them do what we need to do?
we can make it work as best as we can. An 8-year-old computer is only going to allow us to do so much. We do PC repairs, but whenever you get into those types of things, where it's upgrading memory and things to that effect, eventually it comes to the point of where the hourly rate to send somebody out here, work on it, put in the part, are we looking at exceeding the price of just buying a new piece of equipment at that point in time? And we can always provide those options to the department head and let them know ahead of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can leave these with you guys just so you can have them.
Okay.
So you at least
Thanks.
know who we are, know what we're doing.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your service to the community.
If you go to lincolncoks.com, it'll have the.
All the department heads.
Yep, we got it.
All right, highway department.
And then,
Hi, how's it going?
good.
How you guys? Good.
Fun.
One of the things we have coming up, the state's coming out to inspect the line pit to do final reclamation on that today at 1 o'clock, so that. Called Kenworth again about the truck that we spoke last week, or last Thursday on. He's gonna call us back to see if he can place a hold on it for us.
Are you getting any kind of price with that? I couldn't remember if we talked.
14,000.
14?
Is it Kenworth?
It's going to be at Kenworth, yes.
It's through Kenworth. The truck is a Sterling.
But that's the one you knew came from
But-
Ellsworth.
Yes.
Kenworth and Salina?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday, yourself or Lance, you guys can both make it. They're going to go down and take a look at it in Ellsworth. Spoke with Ellsworth County.
Okay.
You spoke with the gentleman that is mechanic out
I
there.
spoke with a gentleman that works over there part-time. I didn't speak personally with him, but the word got back to me that he said he's a mechanic that works over there. He said the truck is in excellent shape. But Ellsworth County's got service records on every piece of equipment they got. They got file folders. I've been over there and looked through them already, and we can go back through that and see what's been done to the truck and,
Yeah.
and
Kind
drive
of
it.
project what may need done
Yeah.
and what won't need done
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, that's worth a lot, yeah.
Oh,
yes.
And you know the history.
Yes.
Well, So you're going down next Tuesday? yeah. So if it were acceptable, you could probably meet a mid-month payout. Well,
We're
I
gonna
don't
look
know
at
when
it in
Kenworth.
Ellsworth. Kenworth will get it.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know when the
The-
trade's going to
Kenworth will take it in when they get the
So
new
we
truck
know
in
earlier than the
delivered.
end of the month. then. Yeah.
Yes.
Right now, Kenworth's doing the trade, but they still got the truck. So until
Gotta
they
go
do
through
the
the dealer.
final trade, we
Well-
we won't be able to get to it. So
So the 11th is a Monday. Is that what you said, the 11th?
The 12th
12.
No, 12th is a
We'll go
Tuesday.
down next
And we're not
Tuesday.
having a meeting that week, so.
will be in
Yeah,
KAC
we're-
though.
Okay.
Yeah, we're out next week.
Are you
Okay.
going?
Your gal.
Me and Lance. He's going to be
You're
gone.
just
I'm going to
Okay.
KAC.
Yeah.
They're going to stay for
I'll take Lance with me.
Okay.
We'll go down and look at it.
Okay.
Go
So
through
I-
the records.
I mean, what do we need to do purchase-wise if you decide?
We still have to wait for Kenworth to
Yeah, we
receive
still
it.
got
This
it.
is just to look at it
Okay.
ahead of
Can you
time.
put like a hold on it type of thing?
That's what I
Each
called
one.
Kenworth.
Yeah.
And he's going to talk with their.
That we get
Which
first.
If you like it.
Yeah.
obviously,
And that's
yeah.
what he said. He goes, I said the price.
Sounds good.
He's like, well, I'll talk with the lead salesman, see if we can place a hold on it for you, pending on that you
Yeah.
guys want it.
That you look it over and think
Correct.
it's okay.
Then still waiting to hear back from Next Tech about the fuel pumps up there to get us connected so we can do October's fuel.
Oh,
Recovery.
What is the deal with them not giving, like, why is there
Well,
no
I've
direct
been
access?
told like 3 different times, 3 different ways they were going to connect it, or who someone else was going to connect it, or it was done. And there's different options you can do to make it connected, or through concrete, run a cable,
Why is it going through Next Tech at this point? I mean, I don't understand
because Next Tech was the one setting it up.
they're the
Okay.
ones we had operating.
Did Wilson connect with you? Wilson Communications?
No.
We kind of told them to go ahead and talk to you, and if you want to talk to Eagle too. I think you're probably one of the outlying locations that could look at maybe saving a little bit of money. You don't need middle of the night service and things like that. I mean, we had some resistance to change with some of the departments. I think you guys could probably talk to each company. I mean, those 3 at least. Another suggestion I had, WTCI. Are they in this area?
Who?
That's Wilson Telephone Communications.
Oh, that is
Wilson.
Wilson.
Yeah.
That is Wilson. Okay, that didn't register with me.
Okay.
But yeah, if you would talk to them and see
Okay.
what you want to do about your department, because all the separate locations don't have to be integrated. So why not look at options for you?
And you've talked, Brenda, to Next Tech about this fuel problem, and they haven't.
Yeah, they were supposed to be getting back to me.
But they haven't helped
last
so
week.
far. Huh? And you need to get in there to
Yeah,
program
with
that.
Well, right now,
Yeah.
I got Gordon in there before we lost connection. So there's that. I can't switch over the keys because we swap graders around. So I can't get in there, swap the equipment around. And then we can't pull any information. So all of October's,
You don't know where
Fuel
your fuel
records.
bills are, and
yeah, we can't. That's why September's took so long for us.
Next Tech now is the current operator of that system.
They had internet with AT&T,
Okay.
and it was a dial-up modem, and it wasn't really working very well, and they kept losing connectivity. They couldn't access it. They would have to go out to the facility and actually fix it. We went with Eagle, because you guys approved that, and so when they installed the modem, there was going to have to be something that connected the 2 programs, and I think that's the problem, because it's been dropped in between him being hired and the previous people. But the company sent some kind of motherboard that had to be put in, and then they have to install a little antenna into each of the locations to get the internet to work so that it will communicate with each other.
Okay.
But it wasn't communicating before, so don't think that it's all Next Tech's fault, because it's not.
No.
It's more AT&T and the dial-up modem, and then apparently the computer doesn't even turn on anymore that did have direct access to it. So it's a bigger issue than just Next Tech.
Well, I'm not blaming Next Tech. I was just wondering if they're the ones who could fix it. That's all.
That's it. You can either run a hardline cable through, bore out the concrete, but the part that we had bought for it is just an Ethernet jack. So you either have to buy 2 external antennas for one for the building, one for the machine, and set it up that way, or hardline a cable.
But then we decided to not hardline the cable because it was going to be too dangerous to cut the concrete when there's a bunch of fuel lines there. And originally they were going to pull the fuel line through the conduit that they ran, but apparently because it is fuel related, they filled the conduit up with styrofoam or with spray and foam. So the conduit is full to keep it from having any kind of air to where the vapors
Fumes
of the
could go in
gas
that
could
building.
back up into it and cause an explosion.
Yeah, okay.
So originally we thought we were going to be able to pull the wires through the conduit, and that did not work.
Okay.
So now we got to get from the fuel pumps to the building, and I think that's where he had Next Tech come out, and they were looking, but then they couldn't get caught up with him in order to be looking there at the same time. And then he come back and he said, "No, let's just go ahead and cut into the concrete, and we'll bore our own conduit." And then it was decided not to do that. So, I think that we just need to get them here when somebody's here to actually look at the project together. Does that make sense?
I guess. Kinda.
Okay.
I'm kind of confused, but
Because I'm really confused myself, and I
Yeah.
just want to go out and take the project over, which I can do, but
well, I just
it
want
shouldn't
you
be
to
this
have this, be
complicated.
able to work for you. However, it sounds more complicated than for a dollar fuel pump.
Well,
Awful complicated system there.
Well, and the reality is the fuel facility has probably outlived its lifespan, and it probably needs to look at getting updated. we wouldn't probably have this issue if it was updated, so.
Yes.
Okay.
When I spoke with the field person, the fuel master program, their software tech originally when I started, he was very surprised that we're the only one, he's been with the company like 8 years, and we're the only one that he knew of that was still on a dial-up modem at that point. So but work in progress.
Okay.
Heard a bit about the health insurance. The guys were wondering about that.
About what?
The health insurance. If they were going to have an insurance
Did you
day.
get a copy of that? The program breakdown, because that's what
Yes,
we're
from
getting.
last week.
Okay, and we just approved. You were in here, right?
Yes,
We just
they
approved the
were
$20.
wondering if there was going to be a day like they used to have for the insurance days
Yes.
before.
Yes, she's mailing stuff out,
Okay.
and then
We just approved the wellness
Yeah.
add-on program today.
that's true. They're used to doing that in October, so time has lapsed. Dawn, did she say she was going to schedule a time to come up with every department, right?
She will schedule the time.
Okay.
That's what she's gonna finalize.
So it's in work. It's just coming.
Okay.
She
So
just
it's
had to
very
call us.
similar.
Well, they were all
to-
worried because
Time.
October 31st was the last day. Like, well, they're going with something different. They're going with Blue Cross Blue Shield, but directly. So
Yes.
it'll be the same thing.
Yeah,
we'll
it's not
be given
the
a month
state.
to do it, but change is change. So
Right.
And we're going to keep the wellness, and they can roll over their points, right?
Yes.
From
If they qualified this year,
Yeah,
for
if they
next year, they're
qualified
going to
this
get their
year
deduction.
on this wellness
$20.
program, they have points. They could roll
Right.
them over.
And then you can enroll in the wellness program for this year to get your points for next year.
okay. And then the road maintenance agreement and High Plains contract that I dropped off. Still waiting to hear back from Jennifer on those, so I can get those signed and returned to their parties. I don't know if you guys have heard anything on that or not.
About
Just the RMA for the
I haven't.
farm.
I don't think
and
I
then,
have.
okay.
You dropped them off in person.
Yeah, we emailed. She has them. I spoke with Liz this morning. She has them.
Okay.
She was out of the office.
Okay.
Is there anything else that I'm missing?
Steve.
Oh yes, the bridge foreman position. We closed that out and interviewed. Like the only applicant
Did you
was who
come
we
up with a
recommended.
dollar amount?
He was thinking to be brought up to 18 where we put Lance at. I believe that's close to, it's around where the previous one was at, if I'm not mistaken. No.
What's the current
I don't know what.
pay rate
It
there?
was $1 an hour more.
There's $1 an hour more. I believe he's at $14.65, $14.75.
The current $14.75 was with the 50 cents total for the year 2019. That's current now.
Trying to think.
Should we be an executive?
15.05? No, not for money. And there's no reason to go in since we don't have to pick between candidates since we have one applicant. But yeah, if it was about different candidates, yes, but he's the only one, so we're just looking at $1 an hour amount. Current is $15.05.
Is that where he is now?
Yes. Suggestion was, did you guys talk about
He
this?
spoke with him. I
You
didn't
didn't
speak
talk to
with
him
Steve about it, no.
Okay.
18 put him at right at 37,000. A lot of money. That's starting out, because he's going to add $1 within the year,
50 cents.
and then another one after that.
You probably wouldn't give. We've never given.
Would not.
In the past, you've only given $1 an hour.
About 17. That's because we really want to.
Well, that gives movement for next year
Yeah.
without, yeah.
and that gives him a little bit for being a foreman.
And we are talking about one more hire for that whole crew.
For the bridge. One
For the
more on
bridge.
One
yeah.
more for bridge,
For
one
the
more
bridge.
for roadside.
So that puts the foreman and then two, or the foreman and then
And
three?
one
Foreman and
crew,
Foreman.
two crew?
Two crew and the
Okay.
foreman for bridge.
Okay, so you have three total. You
Yeah.
will have, you will.
But we have an open slot right now. Did you
Right.
guys schedule interviews?
We haven't yet. One thing we need to know on that's where we're gonna start them out too.
Well, where are we? Who's on the bridge crew with
Greg,
Greg Nay.
where's Greg Nay right now?
Are these people that you're gonna interview, well, I bet we don't know yet, are they experienced and?
some of them are. There was one application I looked at that guy did have some experience.
I could see if they had experience, they could maybe be a little higher,
Is that $14.55?
higher
He's
offer
actually
than
20
if you're
cents higher
just
than what he should have been.
a young guy who's
Because-
never done much.
Nobody researched.
Not that you don't want
Yeah,
them to, it's
right.
just that they would start lower.
We need some idea though when we interview them because we know
Yeah,
that question's gonna come
They'll
up.
ask that,
Yeah.
sure.
They're gonna ask it. We need to have some kind of an idea what to respond with.
What is our
I have a question about
starting
this.
wage?
It's, well, it's different for every position, and right now, on the bridge crew was about $14.30. She said. So, my question is the new bridge crew foreman going to be able to operate the excavator, operate, things
Oh, yeah.
that?
Yes.
Is that going to come with training, or how are we going to get to that point? Because we don't.
The excavator's the thing we'll have to train him on.
Go ahead.
But
But
he
you
runs
guys-
the backhoe.
You could train him on that.
His
yeah.
here and myself and Gordon can train
Yeah.
him on the excavator.
He can train him. It's gonna take time.
We
to
talking
learn.
about
You
Steve?
have to take the 75 cents off of
Steve's
that.
pretty experienced on most equipment.
Yeah. Just if he's not comfortable
Because
in that
that's
new
what his
excavator.
raise is.
Well, yeah.
Because they haven't run
Oh,
that.
for the
We're
higher
gonna have to
somebody.
get somebody comfortable on it.
And actually probably $1.
And you think he's very trainable?
I think it's
Oh,
$12.05.
yeah. He's run the mini
So
a
13.05
bunch, a
for
backhoe a bunch.
13
05 or 55?
Oh, fine.
05.
And
But
what,
I
Up
gotta
to
look.
17 for bridge crew guy.
Well, what are we expecting on the training for the excavator? Because that's going to be an integral part of doing culverts, correct? And some of the bigger projects.
correct. I would like to train 2 people on the excavator, one on the bridge crew and maybe someone else. And that's gonna be a matter of just taking them out and letting them operate it until I feel they're comfortable, that they
Okay.
know what they're doing, they're not dangerous with it, and they know how to operate it. Steve has never run excavator controls, so it's gonna take a little bit to get him to switch over to get used to excavator controls. As far as running the mini, he runs the mini, but they've got it switched back to backhoe controls.
Okay.
He does an excellent job with the mini.
Okay.
He does real good work. The
So-
only thing is, it's gonna be a little different getting used to the excavator controls.
But he's willing to learn the excavator, and you're willing to train him in particular. So
Yes.
on the bridge crew, he would be the main operator.
He
of
would be the
excavator.
main operator of the excavators.
Then I'm going to suggest that we we would do $16.50 until he's trained on the excavator, and then give the 50 cents upon completion of the training. And we have like an internal certification that you're allowing him now to go out with the excavator. We agree with that, and he'd be one of the excavator, deemed operators. Does
It'll take
that
just a
sound
little bit of
appropriate?
training.
I'm assuming a few months by the time we
Yeah.
get
Until-
appropriate weather. And
Well,
Yeah, we need time.
A time until you think he's ready.
Right.
You're the judge there.
Right.
And Brendan, you guys.
Right. He does real good, but there's things that, watching him running the backhoe, there's little tricks that he doesn't know because he hasn't been around it enough that I've seen him, but he's willing to learn, and he's got enough experience that he's not dangerous with it.
What's
So.
his last name?
So Weber.
Weber.
Weber. I move we offer him the employment, Steve Weber, as a bridge crew foreman at $16.50, to be raised to 17 at the certification of the highway department.
On the excavator.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Stephen Weber as the bridge crew foreman at $16.50. and then is understood that the highway department will come back to us upon his completion of certification and journal certification for the
In-house certification.
Yep.
And I
It
think,
won't be a certification. It'll just
No,
be,
but
yeah.
No.
approval.
My
but
opinion,
your approval, and you
my
guys
approval.
could have your, in my opinion, we talked about this before, that we could have, maybe you guys could have your own in-house certification. It's like now, Stephen
That's
would
why
do
I said
this.
by the highway department.
Yeah, by the highway department.
Right.
Saying he knows how to run the excavator and the backhoe. And that way then, when we do reviews later, we got that information.
The excavator's a big piece of equipment. I don't want somebody on that's dangerous and reckless.
Exactly, I agree.
So you got a 40
And I would like to reiterate that
I think the
depending
total
on what
range
we cost of living
35.
raises and or next year's raises, we're already gonna hit 17 with the excavator, and then
Yep.
it'll be above that next year. So I just want you to be able to relay that message to him.
Okay.
Is everyone under the understanding that
Yeah.
that's
Effective date?
effective? Who made the motion?
I did.
When's your effective?
Doesn't matter. Whenever you hire him, when you gonna do that?
We can talk to him this afternoon.
Mhm.
Good. Effective immediately.
So tomorrow?
Tomorrow would be good.
Okay, it has
Sorry.
been moved and seconded for
Good thing you weren't looking at me.
any further discussion. Those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay.
And they were curious about,
A starting wage. So
Starting wage
John
is-
and I talked here.
yeah, okay.
Why
Over
don't
the
we
table.
calculate it rather than just saying something?
Okay.
Okay.
Because I don't know.
We will
and I
get back
can't
to
find
you.
it.
We'll talk about this at the end of the meeting, and we'll get back to you. I'll email you
Sure,
or something.
that's fine.
Okay.
Because
But we know where you
don't
are
have
with
them
your
set
other
up yet.
employee, so
Yeah, and we know when you interview them, they'll wanna know what
Yes,
the wage
that's
is.
what
yeah,
we,
it depends
Sure,
on the job they're coming
sure.
from.
Yeah.
For sure.
And based on experience, based on no experience, all that'd be different.
okay. But we need a basic to start with, so
Sure.
when we interview them, because I know they're gonna ask.
Great.
Well, sure.
Well, and I had suggested before, it would be more appropriate if when we advertise for jobs, if we list a pay range. We kind of started to do that, but then we fell off, and we need to give a range. And lower end is if you need more time for training
would be
and you're
good.
not coming from a job where you already do it. And higher end is if we really get you in here and you know what you're doing off the bat. So
Yeah, we could say so much, X, say $12 an hour to 16, it's based on experience or
Yeah, sure.
something like that.
That would be good.
Yeah.
The biggest problem with that is
You have guys that have been there 30 years that aren't even
Yes.
in that range.
that they're not even in that range.
Yeah.
And that's been the struggle. Not that we can't change, but you have to realize that every employee deserves change too, then.
Yeah,
Not
That's-
just the new ones you're hiring.
yeah. Good point. And we wanna take care of them, especially if they've been here many years.
They've been doing a real good job. They really have, so.
Good. I've been hearing good results from the public.
They've been working well. They really been doing good.
Then you want me to get quotes from Eagle for the communication
He's sitting in
IT
the
service?
corner back.
Yep. Well, I know, he stopped by the office last week too.
Okay.
And then get Wilson and
Yeah.
Next Tech.
we have the Next Tech and Wilson breakdown. Did you get that?
Well, they're negotiating.
Any news on that?
Are you out of
Road
gravel
deal with
pits?
Wally
Using the gravel pits in the
over
county? How
Spillman.
many you got?
Still,
Am I what?
let
Gravel pits.
Tanner know last
Are we
week. that
running short
He's
on
gotta
gravel
check on
pits?
that.
Yes,
They have to
How
survey.
do you decide what makes
I
a
told him to
gravel
wait
pit
to
or
survey
not?
until I got
test
permission,
dig.
Okay.
which was last Thursday. And he emailed me
we
that
also
after the
know
meeting.
we
Prospect
approved
of gravel pits.
Branda fixing
Ask
that.
questions.
Yep, that was last week.
The reason I'm asking
Now, are
is
you going
I
to coordinate
went in my place,
Yeah,
I
with
went
him
out
on
and
any of
got
that
gravel out of the side of the
work,
grade
or is he
ridge
just
for my
basically doing
It's all,
driveway and
his
stuff.
quote was him doing
And
everything
it's
himself.
like 2-year-old police, it's
Is there-
just like this.
Well, that's fine, I'm not
So I don't
against it.
know
He
what's
was
any
going to
good or
go
not,
and
it
talk
worked for
about
me.
the ditches.
Well, I was
I don't know
going,
if I got
yeah, well, make sure
gravel
we clean the ditches, and
availability
we were gonna
or
talk
not.
about that culvert, make
What
sure
I
the water
have
drains.
intentions
so
of
don't wash down
doing
there
here
again.
later on when we
And
get
also,
caught up a
is
little
there any
bit.
certification,
And
or
Bobby
anything
said I
like
could
Tanner
do
would
it a
do?
couple years
That
ago.
I don't know,
Is
if, like with
we went
Brandon
out
fixes
and
this
we
saying,
asked people
it's
and we
up to
tested
code
on
or
that.
something,
And we need to do
or
it
does
again.
Tanner need to
We
be
don't
out?
have
With that
code
being
here.
said,
Not for that
I've had a
big
couple
ditch,
people
dude.
tell us
But
already
does Tanner need to be out there to
absolutely
help
not because of
design that with
commercial
Brandon?
taxation.
And I'm not saying you should, I'm just
Right.
saying,
I
know, this
know
is
a
a
couple places.
big project, and
in Howard
do we
and
need
Gable
that type of
Farms
expertise or not? I don't
that
know.
have some
And I'm not
pretty
saying we
neat
do,
stuff.
I'm just asking.
I think.
Yeah,
For what is being done, no.
okay.
If we're gonna make it right, yes, we need a geotechnical survey to determine where is a safe layer to bolt the anchor into, since we're patching and pounding in.
Well, we're
It
gonna,
lasted 40 years.
we approved what
Hopefully it'll
Mr.
last
Brand is
50,
gonna
yeah.
do, so I guess we'll do that.
Okay, I'm gonna go backwards for 1 minute, back
Okay.
to this.
Okay.
You were separated out here, where are you? Okay, so then you're down here. That's leased equipment, that's not leased equipment. Do you want to
Okay.
take a picture of that?
I'll just write it down.
Here, yeah.
That's Wilson, or is that?
This is Wilson, and this is your own equipment.
Yep.
They will come in and do a diagnostic of each piece of equipment, do an upgrade, and do the Windows 10 for you. And then that is the leased.
Yep.
And then, so you want to look at your budget line item for what you have for contractual too. And then this one from Next Tech, they had you included, so I don't know. You'll have to call them and ask them what your particular line item is, because they just gave this total. Okay?
And I know in his quote, he put 140 feet of new culvert tubing. So I would hope he's moving up water to the southwest, like he had said, what should have been done out there, and not putting the pipe back where it originally is. Because that's what helped contribute to the issue.
Well, I would like us to be in contact with him then. Why don't we just...
He called me this
Okay.
morning, and he would like to put a seepage tube at the bottom of this, which wasn't done originally.
I don't know what a
He's,
seepage tube is.
it's just lateral
It keeps
tube
the
or
water moving.
whatever. It just keeps, if there's any water that comes into
Like
that,
a spring water or something underneath there, that'd help get.
it's a
drain that out.
relief, so the water doesn't build up pressure and push something out. It's kind of a relief to get the water out from underneath there. He said there's no water running out of it now, but it is wet down there. And he thought it would be a good idea if just to put a tube in there. They're not that expensive, and I didn't discuss it. He wanted me to come look at it yet today if I could. He's out there,
Okay,
but he's pushing dirt up for the project.
okay.
So
And I think his bid, from what he said when we were in person to what we got on paper, I think his bid allowed for a little bit of room, because he talked about just estimating the number of cubic yards that would be needed, and I know he gave a little more on the paper side, so.
He thought his bid was on the high end.
I think so. I
He
think
said-
so.
is that a bid or just a quote?
It's a bid,
It's a bid,
yeah,
so that's what it's going to be.
or under. I
Or
would assume,
under,
depending-
Well, this
Okay.
pipe wasn't a line item in his
Yeah.
bid.
But that's what I'm saying. Hopefully, with him over exaggerating some of the other expenses, because one of it was purchasing all the material outright, and I know he did tell me he's going to be able to get at least a little bit from that job he's doing up on the hill. So that's just a matter of moving it around, and he's not having to haul it in.
I looked at it the other day, and I believe he's a little high on his yardage too.
Right.
So
Right.
He said that.
He
Yeah.
said 3,000
Yeah, he
yards
said
out
that
there,
just
and
to
the
be
quote had
safe to have it
4,500.
Right.
I looked at it, and I think he's high on his yardage.
Right.
So.
Yeah, he wanted to give us worst case.
So what I'm
Well,
saying
yeah.
is, hopefully, he can add some of those things in for
Right.
the same price.
Anything else?
Yeah, he wanted me to come out yet today, so
Okay,
meet with him.
that sounds good.
I don't have
Did
any
you get your
figures.
excavator's not here yet, is it?
No, probably won't be for a couple more weeks. I
Okay.
would
It's
guess.
2 to 3 weeks because it's
All
coming
right,
from
yeah.
Wisconsin. They're going to service it before they bring it out to
Right,
us.
that's what you
They'll
said.
deliver
yeah.
it here.
I had gotten a list from Gordon of a lot of the projects that he had done in the last several weeks, and I know that, thank you for doing that. I know that's very helpful. I don't know if you guys had seen that, but I have it here if you want to see it.
And I have more.
Okay. Well, thank you for doing that. My question is, and I know this might be a little early to ask because you guys are just getting acclimated and got your office person. Can we get a list of future projects together that we can kind of start looking at to see where we are priority-wise? There are 2 things I'm going to bring up. I know, well, you live on 120th, don't you? So that road, I'm just
That's
questioning.
already got that. Maybe not on the list that you have, but that's already on a proposal. I've already got drawn up.
Okay,
120th is.
okay, awesome.
But I'm holding off with the project because of moisture content.
Well, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Not that I know it doesn't happen like check mark all in a
Yeah.
row, but just I know it's it's a work in progress. But the other thing is that culvert issue above on Union West of where we've been. All that rock you said, and I actually didn't get a chance to go out there, but you said you moved some of that out of the ditch that had washed in, and so
And
do
Steve,
we have plans to get a culvert, purchase a culvert? Or?
Steve told me, don't we already have that?
They used it.
They used
What
it?
they sent off got cut up and brought back and reused.
That railroad car?
That's what Tanner said. When I spoke to him, it was on. They used it on. One's on X-ray, one's on Union, I think.
Well, I know Steve was planning on doing that,
Yeah.
and I can talk to him again, and maybe we don't have anything, maybe we need to purchase something yet to do that with, but we have talked about that too.
And that's just kind of where I'm going with that.
Okay,
Can we
no,
start
that's
to
fine.
put together a future list? I really appreciate being updated on all the stuff that you've done. I just need to be able to tell people, because I know, just for example, you're working on moving that road, whatever that one is that comes right by that bridge, south of 18. What is the road that called?
Well, that
Stillman, but, huh?
Hillman?
Spillman and
Spillman.
Wally Sheldon's
Yeah.
field there.
Anyway, I've had calls about that, and it's that, sorry, we can't get to it this
150, I
harvest,
think.
but I just want to be able to say, yeah, it's on the list.
That's 150.
And I know that one's already
And
working.
that one's
but-
being worked.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And 120th, the only reason I said like I held off on it, I don't have enough moisture there to pull the ditches up right now, or to pull the shoulders, and then we're gonna clean the ditches, but I can't put that on the road as dry as it is.
No,
Yeah,
no
we're just
reason in
going-
doing it.
but it's
You can't
road
get
up.
it. Yeah,
It's on paper.
awesome.
And like the road moving and stuff like that, going forward with us doing it the right way, it's going to take more time than the past when they just handshake deals were done, because those handshake deals have come back to bite the county continually. That's why we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's.
That's why you guys are hired.
That's fine.
So
Do we have anything
I would
else?
have liked to have fixed it already and moved the road, but to get everything done correctly.
Yeah, do it right. And what the farmers know, I talked to some, I said, that bridge could collapse if you drove over with a semi especially, and, because we had one, a little one, and I said, we know you need to get your crops harvested, but if that thing would crash in there, and it could.
And it's
So
been
what
an
they
issue.
understand.
It's been an issue because Wally said when he was in high school they put a bunch of cars in the creek there and covered them up to try and prevent it from eroding.
Yeah.
Really? In that same, around that bend?
Yeah.
That thing always the roads
That
coming
used to be
through.
a standard remedy for that.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
Don't know how much is
When
left
you,
of them now.
when you can
but
still throw cars in the creek.
They throw anything.
They might not have been able to, but they did.
Sometime come and visit about gravel.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity.
And we're gonna start on that here when I get these gravel projects done, then we're gonna try to go look for gravel.
Did
We're
you
gonna
get
talk
a
to
chance to talk to Tim
No, I
Schrader?
haven't.
You may want to talk to him and then Randy Meyer. I don't know if it'll work, but give him a call.
Well, we need to find some.
Yeah,
Cause
well,
we're,
Tim Schrader asked me, because I know him well, and he said, hey, they had that river pit open years ago, and then they closed it, and they said now they're willing to let it be open again. Now you guys have to inspect it, see if it's good gravel or not.
cause we're hauling the last out of the lad pit right as we speak. They're up there finishing dozing it up.
Okay.
That's gonna be empty. And we're getting down to the nitty gritty. We didn't have enough in Rosebrooks to do this project.
There's more back there. It just has to be.
So, I mean, we're getting down
Yeah,
short
okay.
on gravel.
They'll have to put feelers out to.
Well, and so if that's the case, I'm a little confused because we signed 13 pits last year. So can we be closing some of these, or where are we in that? You know, if we have so many
Well,
open.
there's one up there, like the Zacco pit up there, there's nothing good left in it.
That's that clay we
It's
had
all
got in
clay,
there.
you know.
How about Meitler's pit?
That one's good.
That one's good. We're going in there fixing that crossing up.
Yeah.
They're up there working on it right now so we can pull out of it. Lad pit's gonna be gone.
Yeah, we'll be working on reclaiming Lad Pit, Multi Pit, the Eckhart Pit.
They're all empty.
Now that's 3 pits that are empty
Okay,
right
so
now.
there are quite a
Rest this
few. I
week.
think we had just signed them on again because they weren't
They
quite
had-
done, but we're getting to the tail end of that.
There was a couple 100 yards or 100 yards left, and they left it open for those 100 yards instead of taking that material and bringing it to like the North Lot or something
Okay.
and reclaiming the pit.
I have a question. Since we're getting this excavator, what are the chances that we can redeck that bridge on Kiowa at the?
Out the
I
county
think it's
line.
65. Yeah, at the county line.
We don't know if the structure, according to what I've been told on that, and that's something Tanner would have to go look at, but according to what we've been told, the structure won't take it. If we redeck it, we still have a problem with the supports underneath. And that's something Tanner's gonna have to look at and make that decision on it. But it would be a major undertaking for the county to redeck it too. It's pretty good, it's long.
I know, it is long.
It's a lot longer than what you think. But what I was told was the structure's won't. Even if we redeck it, we're still looking at a 6-ton bridge or whatever. It's the structure's the problem, not so much the deck.
Do we know what number it
I
is?
think it's 65.
65 right there on Iowa,
Yeah.
right by Wilson.
Yeah, that's it. 65.
But we can check into that, Alexis.
Please do. I've had people tell me that every last commissioner for 4 terms has told them that they take care of that bridge, and it's literally down to where you can't even
Right.
get a big pickup across.
No,
It's 3
no,
tons
it's
or
down to
something, or-
about car traffic
Yeah.
only.
Yeah, which
And
is
it's a
not
major,
happening because we've done that, and
and it's kind of a major road.
it is. It's the only way to get to 232 unless you go clear to 18.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, I'll give Tanner a call.
I was out and looked at it, and I went out there to, Steve asked me if he thought we could redeck it. It would be a major undertaking to redeck it. And then he said that he had been told the supports won't take it anyway. So if we redeck it, we're not gonna have an 80,000-pound bridge.
okay.
We're gonna end up with,
Walk.
so we have to have Tanner's opinion on that.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
would you mind following
Down
up on
my
that,
foot.
please, so we can at least get a little more input? Anything else from you guys?
I do.
Walk. You got anything for Gal?
Oh, I think that's it.
You know, this can get pretty suspicious. You got a brand new pickup and gout.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
What else? That's the end of our agenda, isn't it?
Well,
Anything else going?
we have this bond book, and then when is the hospital board meeting? Is that next week when we're gone?
I don't know.
Is it the second Tuesday?
I don't know.
Hospital board?
Yeah.
Third.
Oh, so the week after. So is that Thanksgiving week?
I was gonna go visit Steve.
No, it's the week before, week between, okay.
I'm gonna visit Steve the next day or two and find out if he's right with his long-term plan, because I need to get that integrated, so I might as well start there and
Sure.
get his attitude out of the way first.
Sure. Well, I'm gonna ask you guys to, do you wanna wait for Randy? Or- I'm gonna ask him if you guys give me permission to just go up there and at least inspect these documents in person, because instead of us paying attorney fees and everything
You
else,
do not wanna pay attorney
no, if he needs
for
to,
something that's authorized.
right,
We don't
in
have to have-
statute even.
We don't have to have printed documents there, we just need to review them.
I'll take pictures now, I can email it to you. Okay. That's what I do.
There's no doubt why he went through all that. Yes, ma'am. We've said no to everything that hit this floor today.
Okay, well,
I told her to wait for Randy. Maybe you'll get some.
That's a no in itself, right there.
Does the board mind when he gets back if I just get sort of with clarification?
Sure.
As far as you're talking about all department heads who never make their own decision, just from some conversations I've had, I've been told this building is supposed to do, everybody has to come to this consensus at this building, but the outside liars make their own decision. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, so everybody here has to agree on one.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
One other thing I was gonna ask, was there like an RFP, like a request for proposal, a standardized one?
We did not do that because I think we ourselves were confused, and we have certain departments that had TAS, others that have 10-year-old computers. One, our EMS shed needs everything new but he was actually talking we could even downsize from 3 to 2 in there maybe. So
That's just my concern, is all three
I know.
providers are gonna come in with 3 different ideals, and some prices will vary depending on just.
And I think that's why it kind of just ended up being, okay, each department needs to make their own decision, because However you can customize it for them, that best fits them and fits our budget is great, because we did not budget to purchase new equipment. So that's gonna be a problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification.
Did you have a question?
I just have a few things. The last grant on the Hunter Siren project was awarded, so now we have all the money
Okay,
from GL Hewitt Project Drive. So I've asked for the bids again, just to make sure there were no changes. Can I go forward with that? 'Cause-
yes, and
Okay.
please, we'll authorize Dawn to go ahead and write you a check out of the emergency management budget to cover the county portion.
Okay. She has all the checks, so I don't know where you're putting them because it's not
Well, I don't know,
from
we
my
don't,
fund.
we don't do it, but
So,
just, does that
put
make
'em
sense, Dawn? Out of the
wherever
emergency
you put 'em?
management fund is where
Okay.
we're gonna get the county portion anyway.
Okay, and Richard Ansel, who is a repeater board, I don't know if he's the chair, and Brad Nitch is the Hunter Fire Chief and Mayor, are gonna meet with me this week, and is it fine if I just let them go ahead with the bids that we have and let them, they're gonna say where they want to put it and all that stuff, right? Is that okay with you guys, if they
Yeah,
represent
And
this?
I'm still a
Because I know
little,
nothing about it.
yeah, and
so-
I'm still a little confused on that because we were being updated kind of randomly, but the last that I remember, the repeater board was going to take ownership
Yeah, they're gonna,
instead of each individual, like if the siren goes on the one in Sylvan, I think they were saying if the siren goes on the pole's owned by the city, but the siren itself is going to be owned by the repeater board.
the pole comes with the siren. The pole comes with it. So the pole will belong to the siren.
But
And
the board is
bids-
willing to take responsibility. Well, you'll have to talk to them, I guess, when you meet with them. But
Yeah,
I know. I'm sorry.
yeah. I just want to know if it's okay if they go ahead and
Oh yeah.
take care of the,
Yeah,
With
because
just-
it's, you know,
with
that's their
me.
business, they ought to know what they're doing.
right. Because I
But
know
in the
nothing-
past, it wasn't all owned by one person. It was
Yeah.
each entity owned their own, and so that was the need for the upgrade. We thought, well, if one central location owns everything, which would be the repeater
and
board in
make
this
sure
case,
it's
because they have their own
kept
funding,
regularly.
right, Don?
Yes.
Are they their own taxing entity too? No. Okay.
But anyway, I was just going to ask if you're okay if I go forward with that.
Sure.
And then I didn't know if you did any appointments last week.
We did.
Okay.
We approved the two,
Okay.
Mr. Keach and Mr. Mackay.
Okay.
Matt's,
And then,
or the-
That's not her though. She's
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about LEPC.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then did you, for the Regional Homeland Security, Brandon said he would do that.
Yes, and we did.
Did you do a letter?
I did not yet.
Okay. Okay.
I will.
All right,
Because
that's
I
fine.
think you said I can just email, right?
Yes, you can
Okay.
just either just email it to me and I'll forward it to Marie or.
Oh, that'd be
however.
great. Yeah,
That
or
way
I'll
you
send
don't
it to, I
have to
actually
worry
have
about
her email too, so.
Yeah, Marie's the chair, so it would need to go to Marie.
Okay,
So
perfect.
that's all I had.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
And then the Mankato meeting for the upgrade of the local emergency plan was canceled because they thought there was going to be snow because it was in Mankato. So it's been rescheduled for the 20th of November, which I cannot attend. But Katie Gardner from the hospital is going to attend, I
Oh.
believe, if she can. So
Great.
I have another meeting that day. So
And are you gonna schedule another ELAPC meeting before the end of the year? Is that the
yes,
idea?
December 16th, I believe. And I think we'll keep it at noon again, and if you guys either adjourn for it or all would like to come, that's up to
You know
you.
that.
We're gonna follow
Yeah.
up with those plans,
Okay,
is basically what that meeting's
Okay.
for.
sounds
So,
good. I'll talk to them about it.
okay.
Okay.
Is the 16th a Monday? I think so, December. Yeah, that's all I have.
Write that on the calendars. Yeah. Who does the lunches?
The hospital,
Who pays for it?
the hospital.
Oh. Okay. Thank you.
For now.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
What's this, the bond stuff?
Yes, this is the bond book. I thought it would be appropriate. Dawn, do you happen to be able to point us in the direction of where they use the wind farm money as the,
Collateral.
yeah.
It's not collateral. Let me rephrase
Okay.
that.
All right.
I have an email from Dustin Avey that he did end up emailing me, so let me go get it because that might make more
Please.
sense for you guys.
Please.
It's an asset rather than collateral.
It's an asset, yeah.
Right, it's not being used as collateral to pay off, but ultimately, what else does the county have to pay it off if something
Just like
goes
if you go-
defunct? I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty much an unspoken collateral.
Well, it's kind of collateral because,
In the
They
generic
did-
sense of the term, it absolutely is.
well, no, it shows that the bond issuers, shows them we have money saved over here if worst comes to worst.
Right, but we
Now,
didn't,
it ain't called collateral, but
because we didn't sign it against it, saying
It's like
if
if
the
you go
default
get a-
happens, that's where the money would come from. But where else would it come from? Honestly,
It's kind of like a,
credit rating.
it's like your credit rating.
yeah,
Well, it's like
Yeah.
if you gotta go get a new car loan today, and you gotta,
right. It is an asset.
yeah,
It's just an asset.
and
of
you
the county.
gotta,
But ultimately, where would the money come from in the event that the payments can't be made? That is essentially the generic term for collateral. I mean, it's there. It's,
They attack your assets for
Right.
debt.
right.
We have some documentation somewhere on the wind tower money, on where we're gonna go, what we can do with it, our philosophy, and on the pipeline money, do we not? Because I need to see that.
No, we don't. The only thing we have on the wind tower money, and I've read the agreements, it's just the agreement that the county signed with the wind towers, but it does have the provision and overlying concept of economic development.
Okay, I
Is
need
what
to-
it, but there's nothing specific in
Well,
there.
I need to write a philosophical statement on that stuff. It's a one-time asset that we have to, we just need to decide what we're gonna do. The same thing on the pipeline money, that's a one-time
And I
asset.
think it should be capital tangible investments, because
Yeah.
when you start funding ideas and
Yeah.
social programs, it's
Yeah.
never ending.
I'll
And-
put something together in that and we can argue about it.
Don has a list of all the
Yeah,
contracts we have with like phase 1, 2, and 3 of the wind towers, and the monies and how much we
Yeah.
get each year, the pilot money. There's and also if you look in it shows where it's invested in the banks.
what I need is a philosophy on how we're gonna use. Are we not subject in the next 5 or 10 years to have more wind towers up on my ridge? I think they said
They're
No.
gonna retower next
No.
They
year.
wouldn't do that because they don't have a substation close enough, but if they get a substation close to my ridge, which is the highest in the county, I anticipate some more. So that's one of the other things that, in our planning, we need to, look at perhaps an additional one-time windfall like that, no pun intended. Because I think that's, one of the things we need to look at, what if that happens?
Well, then, yeah.
We are repowering, next year for phase 1 and 2.
Yeah, but
That's gonna renegotiate the pilot money of
in the
these.
long-term planning, when they put it in down there, they were also looking at my ridge
Oh, really?
as
That's
an
there?
additional, but they couldn't, there isn't a substation close enough to do that,
Oh.
so they didn't come out there then. But I think eventually, the way the energy climate for the country's going, they're probably gonna either put a substation out there or something else, or,
They may do that in the future.
yeah, I'm looking at the next 5 or 10 years. but
Have you
it might
been
happen.
contacted by anyone about that?
No, I'm just what-ifing in my own brain
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, you got a
But I
got a
the
hilly
highest
area
ridge,
up there,
I can see
or
the
a
one
windy
flash
area.
from my place at night.
Yeah. On Alexis, on the pipeline, is that like a pilot money also?
No,
How do
it's
we-
not.
how do
It's
we
property
get-
tax.
We get property tax.
It's property tax, and it's based on the actual value of the company. So it's not even necessarily by the direct output. It's kind of like the way they also tax the electric companies. So they
Yeah.
have X amount of poles in the ground, and they put so much power through, depending on what your population is and
pipeline.
your consumption.
Is
But
there,
it's
is there a limit on time on that? Is that like a 10-year?
no.
There's no limit on
No.
this, so we should get this money forever, not
we
As
obviously.
get-
long as it's operating.
Or are we getting taxes on the old pipelines?
No.
Got
I
one that
can't
runs
answer.
across our place, the airport, and Bertelson's.
I can't answer that honestly because I
And
don't
that's
know
that's
what.
been there for 60, 70
But they
years.
call them utilities
Yeah.
when it's a
Utilities.
gas line, electric line, anything like that. And the way they value the utilities for their property value for your county is according to your own mill rate, but also, more importantly, according to the value of that company itself. So,
That's Willie Shelton and his son out in the hallway,
Oh.
and I think they would like to talk to you guys.
Sure.
So,
yeah,
Yeah.
have them come in.
okay, come on in.
Gosh, I wonder what they want to talk about.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Well, I saw him,
Yeah.
I should ask him in when I was hobbling around out there, I should have invited him in.
Come on in, please, have
Come
a
on in.
seat.
No, I just,
Sit right
Come
down
on
here
in,
in the
Wally.
front.
You're right up front here.
Have
I
a
would
seat.
like you three to discuss. I don't have to stick around.
Sit.
We've got 210 bales on the other side of the Spillman slide, and it's 21 miles round trip. And that's 21 trips and 21 miles. And it's 7 miles if we can go through the slide just for one day only.
How about if we had a limit?
10 bale trailer is what
Well,
it is.
I sympathize with you, and I think we can accommodate you, as long as it'll just be you hauling hay and we don't have somebody else running through there. So if you could schedule that, I wouldn't have any problem if you schedule that with Brendan, and
Okay.
he could lift those rocks and be them out of the way. That would be my solution.
If
to
they
the
would be
problem.
moved at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, we'll be
Well-
done by 4:30.
And then he could put them back in.
Yeah,
and block the road.
absolutely.
See any problem with that?
How much weight is on that? 10
Oh, 10 soap feed bales, so
Oh,
they weigh
yeah.
not that
1,000
much,
pounds.
20,000? Well,
Yeah.
Won't be that much.
well, we're just worried
Yeah.
that that thing could
Yeah.
collapse, you know. We don't mean to not
Yeah,
stop
I
you guys from
understand.
farming.
And you can have it after that.
Well, we know.
But, you know, that's a lot of hauling.
Yeah.
21 miles round trip.
So if that bridge collapses, we're not liable.
No, you're not liable.
Okay.
And if it collapses, I'll start going through my field.
No handshake.
I don't want to, I would go through my field, but then people follow me.
Yeah, then you'd have a road before you
Yeah.
want, before you want a road,
Would
right?
that be any problem? Send
No.
him over and talk to Brendan? Say, you and Brendan work out the schedule. We only want you to haul your crop through there, and then we want it closed back.
I would appreciate it greatly. Because, like, hauling wheat from where Mike Panzer used to live, or hauling Milo, we hauled 20 loads, and
Direct
instead of a
to
4-mile trip, it was a 12-mile trip.
Yeah, I know.
You know, so it's really starting to mount up on us.
I honestly understand your complaint, but I have people calling me asking me for the same thing. But they live in my district, but they farm near you. And I've had to tell them no. I mean, if you make for one, then we could say, well, it's open this day for X amount of pounds for everybody.
I don't
Or
want.
it's,
I'm not here to argue. You guys, I'll be gone and thank you, and I'll call Brendan and
Why
find out
couldn't
what
you
you.
do the same sort of thing? How many bridges we got like that? Roads closed.
no, I mean, I'm talking about this specific throughway. I mean, I had people that farm over there that wanted to get their Milo off, which I don't know. I mean, I
Well,
guess
there's
they
a
don't,
difference
but-
between 80,000 pound semi and
Yeah,
15,000 pound bale trailer.
right.
We're not
That's
asking for
that's what I was worried about
80,000 pound
before.
load of Milo to go across there 20 times.
I understand that. But
If
then
you-
if that's the case, then we could have just put up a weight limit sign and said
No.
anybody with.
Nobody
Doesn't
follow
work
that
'cause
anyway.
He runs over weight limit
I,
signs.
I do not. Anyway, I'm not here to argue.
Well,
I'll call Brandon
Hold
and
still.
find out.
Yeah. Is that all right? If he talks to Brandon and you can have it open for a specific period of time,
One
for a
day.
specific reason.
Yeah,
You all right? You all right?
I don't think Brendan's going to go with that. You're going to have to tell him to. You're going to have to give him a directive. In my opinion, Brendan was here to close it because of that. So I'm
Yeah.
just. I'm playing devil's advocate. I know that doesn't sound great when it's
I'll tell you
not
what.
to your advantage, but
Every time you leave your house, you drive to Lucas, and then back, and then go where you're going.
I
Every time.
understand.
Every single time.
I understand.
And I don't care if you're going to Mine Mart, if you're going to Elephant, you drive to Lucas and back, and then go.
What
That's
else
what
we
we
got
go
to
through
do?
every day.
I'm not saying I don't understand, but I'm also trying to
See
get
it.
the problem permanently
Go see it.
fixed.
Oh, I'll call Brendan. I
No,
don't.
I gotta go, you and I go talk to Brendan. Go sit
Okay.
until we get done here.
Thanks.
Okay, we have a question in the
Are
back.
you gonna get that in writing, so if he goes down, that you're not responsible?
No.
So this is more
So-
handshake deals?
Is this one of them deals that if he gets,
Aren't
If
you
he
guys
has a wreck-
witnesses?
We got it on video here. I
if
asked
he
him,
if he goes down, the county won't be sued?
I asked him if you're gonna sue the county if that crashes in.
That doesn't
Now,
mean
that's
anything.
not a legally
It's
binding.
on video, verbal.
If you're
That's
going,
not
if you're
legally
going to
binding.
give him that, and you're not going to be liable, you need to get it in writing.
But wait a minute, he could drive through his own field. True. He could drive through his own field. He doesn't need anybody's permission to drive through his own field.
Correct.
He should drive through his own field.
Yes.
Okay,
Assume his own liability.
thank
Yeah.
you. I probably should have
Okay.
stapled them.
I will read this aloud if you don't mind, Dawn.
No, so let me give you just a little bit of background.
ahead.
So I emailed him because I told him that you'd used the word collateral, and I knew that wasn't right. I didn't know the terminology, and could he kind of help us with some background information? And so he called and visited with me, and this is the subsequent email from that conversation. So kind of to explain, and I think that he would be willing to talk to you guys too if we needed to, if you still had more questions.
This is great. He gave the printout also of the yearly payments. What does that mean, hospital revenues?
Revenues, which is income from hospital deals.
Yeah, but that's not a total revenue. There's just like a random number, 14,000, 22,000, 29,000.
The email might explain.
Okay,
it.
yeah, I'll read the correspondence. Hi, Dawn. The original intent of the hospital financing was for the hospital to make payments on the bonds from revenues derived from tax collections, Medicare reimbursement, and other revenues. If I recall at the time, the hospital was receiving around $10 million from the county for ongoing operations. I have attached a cash flow model from the original bond issue as well as the refinancing completed in 2016. As you will notice, over time, the revenues from Medicare reimbursement related to depreciation expense and interest expense decline, which will result in a larger portion of the payment coming from other operating revenues, including property tax. From a bond document standpoint, the web is not a pledged or obligated revenue source for the repayment of bonds. However, with the PBC bond issue, the county is the backstop to the bonds and pledged to make the payments on the bonds in the event the hospital is not able to make the payment. As such, it is my understanding that the county intended to keep a balance in the web fund in the event of a need to help with the bond payment and or use of the funds to retire bonds earlier. I don't recall a conversation about the intended amount to keep in the fund. However, this was in context of developing a plan with respect to how to use web funds over time. So is that plan in writing?
I don't think they ever really did do a plan besides that they were going to just bank it all in the one fund. You know?
Yeah, I've never seen
And I
anything in
think
writing.
the interest coming off of it was kind of the plan, but beyond that,
Yeah.
We're a backstop to the bonds. That's the same thing as an asset, like Jim said.
Right.
it's basically saying, and and I asked him if he knew how much, if we had, obligated it, and that's where this came from. Although it didn't necessarily, because as I was talking to him on the phone, this is kind of the gist of it, was his understanding as well, is that if the hospital would fail to be able to make the payments, it comes back to the taxpayers to do so. So if you have the funds sitting in the fund to do that, then you don't have to increase taxes in order to pay the difference. But, what dollar level, that's ultimately up to you guys, what risk you want to make it. And then and he did tell me we can't refinance anymore, so our rating doesn't really matter unless we were to do a new PBC project. So let's say we built a sheriff's office and we wanted to take advantage of it, then the rating does matter. But-
So this is already kind of locked in, basically.
Yes.
The payment structure is there, and you can see it down to 2035. But it would be appropriate for the commission to, because I was never introduced to this concept as far as the county. I mean, everyone always told me, well, that's the hospital's debt. Ultimately, it's the county's debt. And that took place with this 2016 refinancing, which ironically coincides with when Mr. Wallace went to each school board meeting and individually proclaimed, 30% of the web fund money to be allocated in the future. That's
Okay.
quite the timing.
Let me correct you. This
Please
was
do.
done in the original PBC as well. This is the refinancing of the original PBC bonds. So the 2008 or 2009 or 2010, whatever year it was done in, the original bonds, we had the web fund, and this was also committed. So that he gave you the 2008.
So Lincoln County
he gave
has
you the
always
2000.
been the,
Yes, that's why we formed the Public Building Commission, was to get the lower interest rate. on
and
the
what year was
bonds.
that done?
In 2008. So one of the two sheets he gave you was the original bond and then the refinancing bond.
Okay, so the refinancing was done in 16, but the original PVC, so the county is ultimately the debtor the whole way through.
And they could have just done straight out revenue bonds, but they were more expensive interest wise than if we did this Public Building Commission.
Well, no, I'm all about making better financial decisions, but at the same time, the commission wasn't overseeing the hospital fund appropriation, and so we've seen a huge jump in the expenses at the hospital just with the tax dollars that they receive from the county. I mean, that 1 year, I have that 10-year printout, that 1 year, it went up by 40% or
Well, it
something.
seems interesting that the Board of Trustees was able to encumber the entire county for without ever knowing.
It was never public, it was never a, yeah,
Voted for this.
yeah. Yeah,
Where did you get these?
this is, Dawn has to hold these
Dawn
are
had
Dawn
those.
books.
Okay. That's all the bond information totally there, right?
Maturity schedule, yeah, this is the entire agreement. Well, I'm just saying, I think it would be appropriate that the future commissions understand that in the event of an inability to pay, the commission has to pay, so it would be appropriate to keep that money. You were talking about a future plan.
Well, we got $4 million in the windmill fund.
Well, that's what's owed.
Yeah, but we're
You know
only
what I'm
talking, say they defaulted 1 year, 1 year's payment would be $450,000. Just because they default, say this year or next year, hopefully not, of course, we could pay that $450 from the windmill fund. That doesn't mean the year after we have to.
But my concern is the hospital and hospital board is telling us where we have to take the money from, and they can't do that. They have to tell us, and I'm sorry, we're forfeit our bonds you have to pay for, and we have to decide how to pay for it. We can't automatically go to the web fund.
No, you're right.
And
But
that's,
where else would we go? That's what I'm saying.
that's,
If
well,
you don't,
you
if
can
you don't
raise
have,
taxes or whatever, but they can't say automatically that they can spend our web fund.
Well, they assumed that, and I think based on this letter
well, that's the.
years ago.
The idea is, so what if they can't pay? Because the county is the debtor.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're the backstop like this
But
person
I
wrote.
hesitate in allowing them to tell us what funds we're gonna use to pay for.
No, they won't tell us
They
that.
did. Then they said you're gonna take money out of the web fund.
Well, that wasn't us. That was the commission that.
That was
The
back,
commission, at the time that they did this,
Yeah.
I committed that.
they admitted
That's
that.
what allowed us to get the ratings that we got.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna levy the taxes
Yeah.
the following year, or we're gonna go into, and I'll tell you this, we'll go into a no fund warrant issue. If you don't wanna use the web fund, and the state of Kansas will make you use the web
No,
fund.
I understand all that. The web fund is our asset, and it's designed to do what it is. I just get
That's why they
concerned.
set it up back then, 2008, right? That's when we started this. Well, the commissioners back then decided that, and we're living with it. That's, you know, we have them out there.
But it's not to say you can't spend any money out of it, it's just saying that you
Yeah.
need to be aware. I just don't want you guys to say, oh, let's spend it, or oh, let's give it back to the taxpayers, or oh, let's do this or that, and not be aware and then have it fail on us, and then
No,
we're
you're-
levying 20 mils to pay the
Well, I'm glad you
payment.
pointed that out, because I didn't realize that we kind of have to make sure we have always enough money in the windmills fund to back this payment.
Well, we didn't talk about this back when we made those one-time allocations to the schools. So is this something new for you to?
No, I think I said it then too.
And
We
again,
didn't have
though,
this discussion.
but again, though, if the hospital couldn't make their payment, that'd probably only be for 1 year, hopefully. That's at $450-some thousand we're paying now a year. It wouldn't be like we're obligated for the whole $5 million that they owe them totally in all the bonds, right?
I think you are.
Well, but hopefully the hospital will keep operating if we pay the bond, and maybe then next year their financial situation would be better, and then they could pay off the bond like they have been doing. They've been paying this bond, their principal and interest off since 2008.
They've been making all their payments.
Right.
And doing
Yeah, and hopefully that
and
would-
I think that they also have a contingency fund that they have to fund.
Mhm.
That's not what it's called, but I can't think of what it's called right
Well,
now.
but guess what? This says the tax lid does not require an election in the following of situations: bond, temporary notes, no fund warrants, state infrastructure loans, and interest payments not exceeding the amount of ad valorem property taxes levied in support of such payments, and payments made to a public building commission and lease payments, but only to the extent such payments were obligations that existed prior to July 1, 2016. So we wouldn't even have to get an election to increase over the tax lid for this.
We could just raise taxes ourselves without a.
Because if you use this as a
without a vote from the
justification,
public,
not to exceed that amount.
the amount that they're in need, the
So
payment
whatever
amount,
amount was due.
which would be 450,000 right now.
It is.
Super sneaky. I
It
never
is.
read that in the newspaper.
Yeah,
Not
right
once.
here. Yeah.
Not once.
Well, you got a 3-inch book here, I'm sure, and everything wasn't in the newspaper.
David's read it.
Oh, did he? Well, I'm sure he did. The Facebook attorney,
He's not an attorney,
Oh,
but he's
I know.
very well read.
I know.
I hate to mess with that like in 2 months.
Well, you don't need the
What else
telephone
we need to
anymore.
do? Anything
What else,
today?
Alexis? You got an issue doing something here on this or what?
No, but don't you think we should be exposed to it? I mean, I hadn't been exposed to it for 2 years, and we did not have this conversation when we were allocating money out of the web fund, out of the wind farm savings account, for lack of a better term. It's all in CDs, most of it.
And you keep that up in your place,
That bond book.
and I could come and read it sometime. If I said may, I
When you're-
guess.
I have it on CD too. You could copy it.
Yeah, I'll see.
I don't think the original one is, but I think the 2016 one came with CDs.
What the heck is this so thick for?
It tells you what each tab is for at the very beginning of it. And I do have, so we had to do our filing that, forget the company now, did the filing, so they basically send me the information, they ask me to update all of the information, and they do our reporting with the federal government. So I have the bill upstairs for that, and I think last year what we did was took it out of county general, and then when the PBC met in January, we reimbursed the county for the expense, so it's probably what I'll do, Shakardi and Bacon.
I wanted to specifically look at the portion, do you know where that's found at all, Dawn, that talks about the PBC's agreement that triggered the hospital requirement to hire the consultant? Do you have any idea?
I'm assuming it's part of the lease agreement, but
Is that in there?
I don't know.
Are we going to ask if the employees at the hospital, specifically the management employees, are governmental employees? Do we want to find that out? And then, I mean, are we going to question that? Since,
Reserve, replacement, and pledged funds. Here's the tax compliant agreement, and then I'm wondering if that isn't. And then there's the table of content of it. I
Well,
really have no idea. But it says that part is on page 11.
I don't think they are, Alexis, because they're a quasi-employee, but we haven't hired them. for the county, and they don't get county benefits, even though it's called Lincoln County Hospital. And we get,
CEO and the CFO, the question is are the CEO and the CFO, Mrs. Seitz and Mr. Granzo, are they considered governmental employees? Because it's a county-owned and operated facility. It's a simple question to the AG. That's not something that even a local attorney would answer.
why wouldn't they answer it?
Because they can't. The AG is the ultimate authority on that.
I mean, I think it needs to be questioned because we've seen that the board has not been doing the actual facilitation of literally anything. So maybe they need the clarification that they are in charge of these governmental employees and they must abide by. I mean, do you know how much money the hospital spent on attorney fees just to find out if they had to give out their records?
I know, I saw it.
Thousands and thousands of dollars that we're ultimately funding.
But, I mean, I'm not against finding out if they're governmental employees, but so what if they are, what if they aren't? What's the difference?
Well, if they are, then the board should recognize that they cannot delegate all of these responsibilities to the CFO and the CEO to sign contracts on their own, especially if they're not going to divulge their substantial interest in things like that.
I think the board will tell you that they have certain members of the board that have dealt with Mr. Granzow in signing these contracts.
The triggering
Which is
mechanism.
not appropriate.
Well, they have to take several board members, I think they appoint a committee, just like they have now to find a new CEO. I think they appoint a committee to, like a fact-finding mission for hiring new doctors. So I think
We've never seen that in the meeting minutes. We've never seen that.
Yeah,
Oh,
how
yeah.
do you
Well, I don't
appoint
know.
a secret committee that gets
where
to
are these
consult
decisions
with?
being made?
Yeah.
Well, that may be true, I don't know.
Well, the issue that's
But I think that's how they operate. Because I know several of the hospital board members are real knowledgeable with Mr. Granzow on this stuff. I can tell you who, I don't want to say right here.
But don't you think it's inappropriate that it seems like only part of the board is informed? It's our job to make sure that the board as a group is they can disagree. I promote disagreements, but for half of them to just not even know, and then the other half come to the meeting and say, oh yeah, we've already talked about this privately and this is what's going to happen. I mean, that's the problem.
Well, they probably need to know they need to get more involved. I think a lot of them think that they hire the CEO or administrator to do all that work. Just like I think the school board hires the superintendent and principals to do all that detailed work. They're not overlooking over their shoulder on who they're hiring for as a teacher and this and that, I don't think. Maybe they are somewhat. But, I think that's where they're at.
But I'm going to just say philosophically, that's the problem with all of the way that American government has gone.
Well, you may be true there. I'm not arguing that fact. They should be more involved, probably. I don't think a lot of these board members come on, they get appointed. I don't think they know what they're supposed to do. They think they're just going to go there and sit and sign off on
Right,
something.
so instead of the senior members saying, well, I've had a private meeting with so-and-so and I know this, then they should be explaining to the junior members saying, okay, this is how we discuss this, or this is what we've done in the past, and what new options would you like to explore? Because there has to be that discussion to even come to a conclusion. Otherwise, the new people are just put on there to be what? Yes people? I mean, that's...
Well, that's probably true to a degree. I ain't arguing with you on that.
Yeah.
Well, back to the issue. The trigger on this Attorney General opinion is David's presentation here about the conflict of interest.
True.
And that's what he wants to know, is if they're government employees, then the conflict of interest is serious. If they're not, then he doesn't have a conflict of interest issue.
True. So we can determine that with the AG opinion, which is our responsibility. I mean, are we going to continue to be the guidance for a board and allow them to do those things without even knowing? Someone should know. And knowledge is the power. It's not about an agenda. It's about everyone having the same knowledge. Because if they've been doing that for years, it needs to stop.
That's right.
So I move to request Attorney General opinion on whether or not
And what?
You going to be specific about the CEO and CFO or government employees?
that
So
particular.
that's the question.
Yeah. I move to request Kansas Attorney General opinion defining governmental employees as pertains to a county-owned hospital. In particular reference to hospital administrator, CEO, or CFO. And what are the obligations of any county hospital employees to disclose a substantial interest statement? That's all. Can you repeat anything, Dawn?
No, that'll be okay.
Would we like to second for discussion?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Now would we like to discuss? I will just reiterate, I think it's our responsibility to have that knowledge. We don't have to do anything with that knowledge, but we need to have it, and then I think it needs to be conveyed to the board that A or B is the appropriate way to proceed from here on out.
Well, it's worse than that. If he comes back and says they are government employees, then you are going to have to pursue a conflict of interest. That's what triggered it. And that's when David was in the hospital board meeting, he had some very specific questions and tied them down very specifically so that he could build a case for conflict of interest. So if that comes back as a positive answer, we got a whole lot bigger problem to look at. I'm not saying right or wrong, I'm just saying that this isn't a philosophical question, this is a very pointed question.
Well, for me in this seat, it is very philosophical because I think it's my job to convey to the hospital board that if they've already done it wrong, they've done it wrong. I can't help them.
I agree with that.
But in the future, they better do it right.
I agree.
I mean,
Mr. Gableman, David is not building a case. He simply wants the knowledge.
If he wasn't building the case, I've never seen an attorney build a better one than he did at the hospital meeting. Those questions
He's
he asked,
extraordinarily thorough.
I'm telling you, I agree.
Yeah.
well, let's
he
go back
asked
to
the
the old
questions
adage that you can't get in trouble unless someone
I-
takes you to task
I
on
know.
it. So I don't think there's anyone in particularly.
I'm not saying he shouldn't have a conflict of interest problem. I'm just saying that this is a very specific, if you get a yes answer, we have a very specific chore to look at.
Well, and we've already made the decision that we were going to notify the board, hey, you as a board did not hire this company.
I
That's
agree.
where, therein lies the problem. The
And
board did not hire the company,
That's
they
not a
allowed two
conflict of
people.
interest. That's not a conflict of interest. That's an incompetent board.
Did somebody second?
Yes, I
Mr.
did.
Gilbert, do you,
And
any
I think
further?
we need to attack that incompetent board and get their attention. We had a meeting once, and I explained some rules to them, and they apparently didn't listen very hard. And in fact, the administrator came back and came down pretty hard on us for just having the meeting.
And
Well, I
in
don't
fact,
think we got their attention yet.
well, no, the day after the meeting, he was sending out an email, allegedly, that was proposing that they request $2.5 million from the web fund to go ahead and build their clinic. So if that's part of the future planning, that needs to be brought out on the table, not being backdoors
That's
with
one of the
emails.
things I want to do. But I think it may be time to have the hospital board come and visit again and make sure that they understand exactly what we want. They don't seem to understand the first one. And I am displeased with the hospital board, pretty much across the board.
Well, I find it to be shocking every time I go to a meeting how many people on the board cannot answer a question. They can't answer the question when you ask them. They always resolve to let the hired personnel ask. And I feel like if they're not there to know anything, that's a dangerous scenario, especially when, in years prior, there had been some financial stability, but now that we're seeing some financial upset, really it's their job to know, because who's going to fill that gap from administrator to administrator? So I'll call for a vote on this particular question so that we can get an answer to that. Those in favor vote aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion carries. We will get the opinion and follow up on that, maybe with a meeting. I would like permission from this board to respond to Mr. Granzo's email saying that it would take him weeks and attorney fees to get us access to these contracts that he has signed or the board has supposedly signed.
I would write him back saying he should just turn over the documents to us. We have every right to see them as county officials. And except for health issues, and personal information.
You haven't requested any documents that have HIPAA information.
You're right.
Yeah,
We just wanted to.
That just needs to be thrown away.
Well, if we made a contract with the doctor, they may be
No, their information is not. It's
on the
all-
contract. Are you sure? Like date of birth.
Where they live is not considered
Not where they
private
live, but
information.
they might have social security numbers too.
That's still not HIPAA.
I even, in my email, I believe, I would have to look down, I believe I even specified, yes, I did, in capital letters, non-HIPAA information. I specified that.
Yeah, and
in the beginning.
we should have every right to see financial stuff. I don't want to see somebody's medical record.
Right, it has nothing to do with us, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he just doesn't turn them over. He doesn't need a lawyer to tell him what to turn over. I don't think.
I think we need to adjourn because I got a burial at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I thought you were done with that.
Well, do you give me permission to respond to
Yes,
this? And I will
absolutely.
go,
No,
I
I
will even
thought-
go in person and I can take pictures.
That's-
Do I?
Okay.
You go do it.
He's to have these documents readily available at
Yeah.
any time, especially for our inspection. So
Okay.
if you give me permission, I'm just
Yeah.
going to say, let me know the soonest possible time, and I will come in person.
I
You
think
Okay.
can't withhold them that way.
technical word is
Yeah, that's fine. You got
Say again.
sick 'em.
Yeah.
who do you have today?
Huh?
Anybody I know?
Further
Jim
business
Page.
for the board.
Jim
Dawn,
Page.
did we do anything that you
Wow,
needed us
he's
to do
72.
for everything?
No.
Okay.
Are you finally
This is
done
just
with
your
that
guys',
process?
No.
this is all
Okay.
I have on the
You
case.
keep dragging it back, yeah.
Just
I
one.
Can't get them to sign the
pamphlet?
damn
Like
paper.
the mafia. You can't
May I have the pamphlet, or do you guys want it?
You
It's
can
for the
have it.
meeting.
What is it?
That's all I have.
It's the schedule of events for the.
I already looked on the internet.
Oh no, this is the
This is your
November
hotel
one.
information.
Oh, okay.
In there is a copy of the credit card, the backside of my driver's license.
I'm in the wrong
Please
month.
bring it back so I can destroy
I don't even
or
know what month
destroy
it is.
it, but you might need it to pay for your hotel room.
Chances are I will.
And Randy and Alexis, you guys get the same instruction.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sending it to you just in case, but if
Thank
if
you.
you could come and pick up the credit card sometime later
Yeah, I
this
come
week.
back. No, we're leaving. We're done this week.
Yes, we will
No,
not have a meeting next week.
we're not having a meeting next week, are we? Yeah, so we're out of here for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And then on the,
I'll come this week and get it. This, right? Is that
Are we
fine?
coming
After
early
the
on?
election?
Yeah, like maybe
Yeah,
Friday.
tomorrow you're busy, obviously.
Late Thursday or Friday.
no, we're starting late on the 25th.
The 20,
Start at
Then
noon,
you're
we
starting-
start 11 to eat, noon to meet.
Who's doing the food?
the 18th, you're starting early.
18th, we're early?
Oh, that's
8
okay.
o'clock.
So the
8
following
o'clock.
the
That's the
canvas.
canvassing at 8 a.m. on the 18th,
Yep.
then lunch beginning the meeting on the 25th.
Yeah.
Who wants to set that up? Because we need to do that today, or have it done.
For what, the
For the food.
highway
How
department,
many
the
people we got out?
landfill guys?
Yeah.
Is Ray
What do
doing
we
that?
want to eat? I can buy it. We'll figure out something. You don't want chicken.
I don't
Do you
care.
want
I
me
don't.
to?
I,
Well, he might as well, if he's gonna eat, he
He
needs to
doesn't
come
work out there, so.
But that's the only way we catch him.
Okay.
yeah.
Bring him.
Remind me when you do the agenda on 18th to make sure it's 8 o'clock. So
Okay, okay.
But I'll come in at 10.
All right,
That's
so,
okay.
Can't
be any worse than
So
me.
food
4 of
for
us
the
and 4 of
25th.
them is 8.
You're here
8.
all around the clock. aren't you?
Okay.
Right?
Where do we want to go?
We gonna eat out there? or you
We're
gonna
going to eat out
in
there.
town?
We at their office. What do you want
I
for
think they can
food?
close, so.
Yeah. That way they don't have to.
I was gonna feed him out there.
Yeah. That's,
Yeah.
Well, then they got, because there's still people coming
Yeah.
during lunch to dump if they have to. Well, yeah, let
So
them
we got
feed them.
3 out there and Ray, so that's the only time we catch Ray, and 4
Yeah.
versus 8.
Right, that's right.
I'll have to find something besides chicken.
Okay.
Turkey maybe.
Mexican's
order
pretty
from
good.
beverage shop.
I'll find something. Yeah, I like subs.
Maybe they would bring it in.
I'll figure something out. All right, are we done? Can we go?
No. Yes. That's it. That's all Don gave us. I will adjourn us until the 18th at 8 a.m.
8 o'clock, 18th, okay.
Thank you.
And see you guys in Wichita.
Have you got your